pretty regular to downstate, right?
Allie, why can't we show the Daily Mail article? I want to see the article.
Oh, we can. John, I know you sent the headline clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Oh, great.
Graphics, Chris.
Hey, Chris, it's me again.
So item 58,
The Daily Mail news story.
let's put the actual article headline in there.
Copy that. We're going to revise the Daily Mail headline.
We basically need to do a headline and just do the actual article.
Great, thanks.
What's in the binder? The correct one?
Yes, it should be. Here we go, kids.
Go get him.
Meetings 42.
First video 42.
All done.
Master sorted out the graphics.
They tweaked 3 of the graphics.
Having another Daily Mail article. 20, MS-45.
Get ready for Dr. Phil!
Hey, Sean. What's up? Carla had an urgent change to the graphic 58.
58.
It's a Daily Mail headline.
58 right there.
That's perfect.
Sweet.
Thank you.
So we're ready to go.
Ready 45.
8,
7, 6, 5,
4, 3.
2.
45, take charge. Let's hit it.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My mom has completely lost her mind.
They claim their mother is being scammed by her online lover.
I got somebody who treats me like a princess.
But there's a bigger catch.
This is the first time we've done this where the guy was conning the husband and the wife.
Is this couple being catfished?
He thinks this guy is real. They're going to run away, and he's going to get $500,000 in a truck.
I guess everything's for sale. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you very much. Well, Renee and her husband of 35 years, Harold, say they moved to the country to live the easy life after their retirement. Now, while relaxing and surfing through the internet, Renee says she happened to meet a man 3 years ago named Thomas Nunez Hughes, and she fell in love. At age 59, Thomas is 12 years younger than Renee, handsome, and a millionaire. Behave yourselves. There's just one problem. Well, 2 actually. She's still married to Harold, and she's never really met Thomas because he's stuck in South Africa. Now, Renee's children, Marcy and Todd, have told their mother they think Thomas Nunez Hughes, or Tom, is definitely a catfish. They say if she doesn't cut him loose, they will cut her off. Take a look.
I feel that my mom has completely lost her mind. 3 years ago, my mom met her online boyfriend, Tom, who she calls her prince.
This gentleman by the name of Tom has taken over her life. He has promised to come here, marry her, give her the wedding of her dreams.
Tom has promised my mom that he will sweep her off her feet. They're going to vacation and travel the world together.
I love him. He's so dignified. I feel like this whole story is a bunch of baloney. It's extremely comical.
This is a complete joke. In my mom's opinion, it's the real deal.
Tom, I was told, is worth multiple millions of dollars. And every time this gentleman, Tom, is supposed to come back from Africa, something happens. There's always an excuse.
Twice he's had malaria and ended up in the hospital. Once he was on his way to the boat, but the car broke down. He got involved with some doctor there who he claims took his documents so he can't leave the country.
It's always about money, how much she could send to him.
I really don't know how much money my mom has sent Tom. I would say it would be about $200,000.
I know that she's completely broke because of it.
For 3 years now, my mom has been scammed.
She just doesn't get it.
I've even gone as far as to send her the Dr. Phil show, as to others that have been scammed the same way.
We tried to talk to her on several occasions. It ends up in an argument. About 2 years ago, my mother approached me that she needed some money for some bills. I asked her how much she needed, and she said about $2,000. I then found out the money was sent to this boyfriend. My mother had a very heated argument about the $2,000 and called me greedy, selfish, and that we are dead to her.
I'm getting married next month, and I am not inviting my mom to the wedding. My mom told me flat out, I'm not your mother anymore. I hope Dr. Phil can bring her back to reality because she's living in La La Land. And I'm not talking about Los Angeles.
Well, Todd, isn't it interesting that you can give somebody $2,000 and still wound up getting in trouble for it?
Well, once I found out from my sister what it was for,
yeah,
I demanded it back, and then I was called greedy.
I'll bet. Yeah. Now, you're getting married soon, yes, but you and your mother are now completely estranged over this because you don't agree with her belief system.
I don't agree with any of what she's doing.
Your mother is married.
Yes.
To Harold.
For 35 years.
He knows that she's involved with this internet lover.
Yes. Harold was totally not for this and wanted to leave. And I told him, please leave my mom, please. He refused. But then all of a sudden now he thinks this guy is real. And I think that's because my mom, who's very open about this relationship with her husband, has told him that Tom is going to buy you a new truck, any kind you want, and give you $500,000. So now Harold's all in it because they're gonna run away, and he's gonna get $500,000 in a truck.
I guess everything's for sale. So that is odd. I think this is the first time we've done this kind of story where the guy was conning the husband and the wife.
Pretty much.
Then here's what he's promised to Renee, that he's going to return home, that he's going to attend your wedding with her. At $2 million, he's going to bring $2 million to the table, a motorhome, Mercedes-Benz. He's going to marry her after she divorces Harold, and he pays Harold off. He's going to pay off her credit card debt. He's going to put her name on his assets. Is your mother kind of a gold digger?
No.
Because, I mean, everything about him seems to be what he's going to give her. Or has he turned her head with money?
I think it has to do with how he charms her. He makes her feel sexy and beautiful and charming. He's her prince. I really think it's a stem of a lot of different things. It's the money, too, but I also believe it has to do with the words he feeds her.
Okay, his date of birth is 9/15/60. He's born in Knoxville, so this is American.
Right.
Born in Knoxville, grew up in the UK. He's 59. He has a home in Fremont, California.
Correct.
So Northern California here. Has a condo in Knoxville. He's currently stuck in South Africa. He stayed at Springfield Hospital in Grahamstown, South Africa. His business is an exporter of cars. He has a daughter.
She was 14 for 2 years.
They call her Cheesy?
I don't know her name.
Okay,
actually.
well, time goes slow, I guess, when your name's Cheesy. And she attends school in Knoxville, so she's here in the United States. His father is a Tennessee farmer, is expecting $15 million in inheritance. He has an attorney who ordered 2 pizzas for Renee.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, that's a little, but see, that's a little nugget that makes it seem kind of real, that there was somebody that actually did something that he asked be done. And Renee sent $30,000, but you estimate it to be closer to $200,000.
Well, she has cleaned out all of her savings.
Her 401k.
Her 401k has been cleaned out. All that money's gone.
Well, they met on Facebook. They're talking via phone, text, and these apps 5 times a day. And her attitude is, why would he be talking to me that much if he's not for real? Well, break it down per hour, it's a pretty good hourly rate. Renee says that her children do not have any idea about her relationship with Thomas because they live in another state and they rarely talk to her. Well, we're going to meet her next. And later, we'll also meet Renee's husband of 35 years, Harold, and hear what he thinks about his wife's online relationships. We'll be right back.
Music, 41 is all. Ready, 43. Roll 43.
When I think of Tom, I get very romantic. Tom is quite wealthy. We are talking millions and millions of dollars. Unfortunately, at the moment, Tom is stuck in South Africa.
And later, he told you to watch out for me because I'm a scammer. What did you think when he told you that you needed to keep an eye on me for scamming you?
I say he's crazy. This is Dr. Phil.
Ready, effects, 41, 3, 2, 1, effects.
Since my mom has met this guy, Tom, on the internet, she is completely not the same person.
My mother was always a hardworking individual, always relatively smart. She would always educate me on scams. She used to always tell me if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
My mom lives in this dream bubble, and it's just her and Tom.
The person that raised me, that I knew and who I loved, is dead.
This is something that you would see on the Dr. Phil show.
She had sent him over $200,000.
He's my man. It's my life.
He doesn't exist. Go to hell.
And look, here we are.
Well, Marcy says she disinvited her mother, Renee, to her wedding because her mother is completely absorbed in her relationship with the catfish. Her brother, Todd, Marcy's brother, Todd, says that he has not spoken to his mother in 2 years because she only wanted money from him to give her online lover. Now, here's what Renee has to say about all this.
Since meeting Tom, I feel like I have a life again. I feel like I got somebody who treats me like a princess, and he makes me feel important. I haven't felt this way in a long time. When I think of Tom, I get very romantic. Well, actually, he calls me his princess. It started out being Mrs. Lancelot. I gave him the name of Sir Lancelot. Tom is quite wealthy. We are talking millions and millions of dollars. Tom says he wants to spend money on me. He wants to buy me clothes. He wants to buy me diamonds. He wants me to look elegant. It doesn't make a difference whether he has money or doesn't. It just comes in handy when you need it. For my birthday, he took a picture of him in front of our car. And he said, "This is your birthday present." And he intends to give me a Mercedes when he comes home. So, and then he's standing there, and I looked one look at him in that suit and that smirky little smile he has. I melted all over the place. Unfortunately, at the moment, Tom is stuck in South Africa. He's had a string of bad luck. Over the years, he's been robbed of $10,000. He has lived on the street. He got malaria from bed bugs, slept in his car. He had no food to eat because I could never live with bed bugs. I'm trying to help Tom come home. I don't believe Tom is scamming me because if somebody was scamming me, why would they call you 4 or 5 times a day? I feel that Tom is real. One day he's going to come riding up in a white carriage with horses, and we're going to go away together.
It's good to meet you.
Good to meet you, too.
So you've not had a lot of dialogue with these two for a while, right?
Correct.
How do you feel about seeing them today?
It's very difficult to see them. They changed a lot in the years. I miss my kids.
Uh-huh. And why do you think they are taking the positions they're taking with you? Do you think they're just trying to be obstinate, or do you think they're concerned?
They're concerned. Okay. My kids worry about me. They always have.
So they intend well, you just disagree with them.
I don't like being judged because I'm their mother. I should know what's good for me.
And how long have you been in this relationship?
It's going on 4 years.
He's a multimillionaire as far as you know, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, if he's a multimillionaire, people go in and out of South Africa every day. If he's got millions of dollars and he wants to leave, he could leave, right? And if he didn't want to leave, he could fly you down there to see him. He's got millions of dollars. I mean, you get a ticket down there for $800.
First of all,
I checked.
I know. First of all, he flies in as a businessman in a private plane. He doesn't go normal flying. Second of all, he can't reach his money. It's locked up in the courts.
I've talked to the authorities in South Africa, and they have no authority to restrict someone's funds for any reason for 4 years.
The problem is, Dr. Phil, is that he needs his papers to leave. They've taken his papers to get him out of the country, his IDs, everything that he has to get out of the country.
Who took them?
This doctor where he stayed at when he got robbed.
You've been frustrated that he hasn't appeared, right?
I'm very frustrated.
He's given you reasons or excuses, depending on what you want to believe. He says that he works in South Africa, that he's missing documents. He doesn't have any social media. He's a very private person.
Mm-hmm.
He's been sick 2 times with malaria that he got from bed bugs.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in a hospital, and he can't get his inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got debts that he has to pay there in order to get his money. He's got to pay some smaller debts to get his bigger money.
Mm-hmm.
And does it make common sense that somebody that's competent enough to have amassed a multi-million-dollar fortune cannot work out logistics in 4 years?
I agree with you.
You've had $800. Why haven't you flown down there to see him?
You never asked me to come down there. Never.
Well, isn't that odd? I mean, when you think about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is odd, and I wish I could give you a better answer. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to make sense out of nonsense, though. Now, Renee says her boyfriend, Thomas Hughes, is the most romantic man she's ever met, even more so than her husband. But he wasn't happy when he first heard she was coming to meet me. I'm curious as to why, and I'm going to ask her that after the break.
43. Roll 43, dissolve it in track.
You there? He wanted to know if you wanted to be involved in the situation.
And later, are you open-minded about this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible he's not real. We researched Thomas Nunez Hughes. It led us to 20 websites.
We're going to lead right to the phone call, okay?
Tom found out I was coming on Dr. Phil. Right away, he thought it was a scam.
He begged my mom not to go. He kept calling and calling.
He called me a bitch. He called me a witch. He called me a slut.
Tom kept telling my mom that Dr. Phil is a scammer. You know, he's going to take all your money.
Tom feels betrayed because I'm in Los Angeles and he's still there in South Africa.
I was really concerned that my mom would not come to the show. Surprisingly, she's here.
Well, we've been talking with Marcy and Todd about their mother, Renee, who has had a 3 to 4 year online relationship with a man, Tom, but she's never actually met him in person. And the biggest problem of all is Renee's family says that she has gone broke giving Tom all of her money. Now, during her Phil shoot, Renee gave Tom a call. Let's take a look.
You there? They put makeup on me. Now I really look beautiful. I just texted a photo of myself to Tom. I said, I look good enough to eat. And he says, I will eat you up right now. We have names for certain parts of your body, right? Pierre wants to eat. I swear to God. He wanted to know if you wanted to be involved in the situation. Tom doesn't want to be known out in the open like this, and he's very proud. So you don't want to be called or anything like that, right? I didn't want to push him to talk to Dr. Phil because I didn't want to have an argument in front of people, first of all. And second of all, it's deceiving him. I don't want to deceive him. I don't want to hurt him in any way, and he might get hurt with this.
He told you to watch out for me because I'm a scammer.
I've seen things about people scamming as Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Have I asked you for any money or anything since you've been here?
No.
Yeah, you're not gone yet, though. What'd you think when he told you that you needed to keep an eye on me for scamming you?
I told him I said he's crazy.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Phil. He asked my husband when I left, how did she leave? And my husband said, in a limo she left. Oh, he called me up. I'm so sorry. I thought it was a scam. I'm so sorry.
Oh, he didn't think it was really me.
No.
Well, you do have conversations with him, and he's pretty romantic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here are some of the text message exchanges between the two of you. Tom, okay, my princess, I cherish you so badly, Mrs. Lancelot. I love you mostest, my soulmate. Be positive, it's me and you against the world, baby. No one can stop us shine. God drew us together for a reason. Everybody will know the reason this month. You responded, I just want you to know that I got loans out, hopefully my winnings. It's a plan. Tom says, okay, baby, all I know is that $5,000 isn't deposited. Lawyer will take my papers till next 2 months, March.
I didn't put the whole $5,000 down. His lawyer came up with money, and an acquaintance of his lawyer and his wife, and I only put a couple thousand down.
So he got the $5,000?
The first, that time, yes.
Where is he?
That's the problem. He gave the money. It was sent over by Bitcoins. The doctor won't let him out now. He won't let him leave.
Renee says she plans to bring her boyfriend, Thomas Hughes, with her to her daughter's wedding next month. Well, we're going to find out what Renee's husband has to say about all that next.
Music, go undissolved. You've got program and 4 in the mini.
My stepdad Harold knows what's going on because my mom talks about it right to his face.
My stepfather Harold knows this is a scam, but I guess in some parts he might hope it's real.
We're going to quickly add
Three, two,
the
one, effects.
husband,
Come on.
and then start doing the reveal. So
Roll 41 track.
My husband, Harold, and I have been married for 35 years. Harold's my partner in crime.
My stepdad Harold knows what's going on because my mom talks about it right to his face.
Father Harold knows this is a scam, but I guess in some parts he might hope it's real.
Thomas even promised my stepdad a new truck and that he would give him $500,000 or $1 million. When it comes to my mom and my stepdad Harold, it's like talking to 2 boxes of rocks.
Now, Renee's husband, Harold, sent my producing team this video with some strong points of view.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Phil. This is Harold. You're going to have my wife, Renee, on your show here in the next few days, and I want to wish you all a good lot of luck. She's having a lot of problems with her kids. Her daughter thinks she's better than everybody else in the family, and her son's just bullheaded. But she also has a boyfriend she's been with for over 3 years now, and she's getting ready to leave me and go with him. And I'm going to wish him well. We've had 35 years of marriage, and everything just doesn't go too good with us anymore. So I hope that she can get along and have a blessed time. Thank you, and you all have a good day.
Well, Renee's husband, Harold, is going to join us now by Polycom. He says he has also spoken to Renee's online boyfriend, Tom, and even sent him money. So, Harold, how are you, sir?
I'm here waiting for you.
Well, good. So, Harold, you believe that this gentleman is the real deal?
I really do not know whether he's a real deal or where he is. I've gotten myself so confused with this situation. She keeps thinking he is, and for her sake, I just like to see her just be happy and be gone, and just let me be myself.
Now, you've actually talked to him, correct?
He's got a broken English, and I could hardly understand him.
But he's from Tennessee, right?
Yeah, but he's got broken English, and I can't figure out what nationality it would be.
Well, Tennessee.
No. He was raised in the UK.
But lives in California now.
It's very difficult.
Dr. Phil, I love my mom, and I can't get through to her, and she always thinks I'm against her, and I'm trying to put her down. And I'm trying to have a relationship with my mom. She's got, grandchildren she doesn't even talk to. No text message, happy birthday. Her granddaughter just graduated from college in May. Didn't even get a congratulations from her. I mean, there is so much hurt well before Tom. And Tom is just the icing on the cake. And I've tried to talk to her. I've asked her to listen to me. And I get called nasty names. And I just love her. I have nothing but goodness for her. Why would I want to put my mom down? I don't agree with a lot of things she does, but she can do whatever she wants. I don't want your money. I don't need your money.
Take your money and spend it on you. You seem to think we want your money. We don't.
All your years of hard work, all your years of hard work, Mom. You worked 2 jobs. Your money you got from your settlement, everything you've worked for to retire and travel and do things you wanted to do, all your dreams you told me about, are gone because you've given it to this guy Tom, and you just don't want to listen to me.
We researched Thomas Nunez Hughes. This picture has appeared under 60 names, and Thomas Nunez Hughes makes 61. Are you open-minded about this? I mean, it's possible he's not real.
I realize
That's just possible. I'm not saying it's true. It's just possible. And, you're a mortgage banker. You understand that you look at data.
Yes.
Let me tell you what we looked at. We researched Thomas Nunez Hughes. It led us to 20 websites, scabwarners.com and fakescam.com, romancescam.com, sugardaddyforme.com, Twitter. And so what I'm saying is what people have done is they've taken this name and this picture to try to reel people in. Now, there are some names linked to the photo that you've seen that you believe to be Thomas Nunez Hughes. But that very same picture is associated with every one of these names.
Really?
Josh Williams, Andy Cole, Kevin Dwayne, Smith, Nelson, Kenneth, Williams, Calvo, Jeff, Dare Daniels, Craig Sloan, Harry Kingston, Glenn Grant, Rex Myers, Ron Eisen, Kevin Markland, William S., Maxwell C. This picture right here has appeared under all of those names. There are 60 names, and Thomas Nunez Hughes makes 61. Now, there's a photo of this Cheesy Hughes, because he says he has a daughter, right? And she supposedly is going to school in Knoxville, Tennessee, right? That's the daughter he had with Sandra Hughes.
Yeah.
That her date of birth was 12/25/01. She's born on Christmas Day of 01. She's 18, student at a private school in Knoxville, Tennessee. She lives with a paraplegic husband named Betsy. Okay, there's another show that we produce. It's Daily Mail TV, and dailymail.com is one of the biggest websites in the English-speaking world. And we actually found that picture on dailymail.com. And there are fears of a missing girl, 14, who is believed to have run off with a boy she met on Snapchat. This is the picture that you got, right? This is what you were given by your Tom. Now, the picture was actually this missing teenage girl. Now, she's been found since then, luckily, and is safe home with her family. And we spoke to her mother in the UK, and everything is good, but she doesn't know any Thomas Hughes. She doesn't go to school in Knoxville, Tennessee, and her name is not Cheesy. This is a different young girl that someone just took her picture out of the media and said, "This is my daughter."
Unbelievable.
Now, Tom gave Renee his home address in Northern California, so I sent one of my staff to find out exactly who lives there, what's going on. We're going to find out the answer to that when we come back.
Music going dissolve. 43. Roll 43, dissolve it in trap.
I'm here in Fremont, California. Renee says her boyfriend, Tom Hughes, lives in this neighborhood.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I was wondering if you ever met this man. His name is Thomas Hughes.
3, 2, 1, effects.
Copy.
Ready, 41.
My boyfriend Tom can be the sweetest person in the world. About 2 weeks ago, Tom did something very sweet. His lawyer sent 2 giant pizzas with everything on it at a place where my husband could pick it up. Harold drove about 30 miles to pick up the pizzas, but Harold did not eat it. I ate it. And the dogs. He wanted me to have a pizza. He knows I love that pizza. And to me, that was more than a diamond ring. I'm not saying I'm not going to take a diamond ring. I am.
Well, they cost more than a diamond ring when you figure out everything that's been sent to this individual. Now, Renee explained to our producers that her boyfriend Tom had been living in Fremont, California before traveling to London and then on to South Africa for his automobile exporting business. Tom, sadly, is now stuck in South Africa. We sent a staffer to the exact neighborhood in Northern California where Tom says he owns a home. He was kind enough to provide her with the address. Let's see what the investigation uncovered.
I'm here in Fremont, California. Renee says her boyfriend, Tom Hughes, lives in this neighborhood. Tom gave Renee an address, and I'm going to go to that house, knock on that door, and see what I can find. The house is nowhere to be found. In fact, the address that Renee gave us doesn't even exist.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I was wondering if you ever met this man. His name is Thomas Hughes.
No, I've never met this guy.
You've never met this guy before in your life? The reason I ask is because we have a guest named Renee on the show.
Okay.
She claims her boyfriend lives in between those 2 houses right there. As far as I can tell, the house doesn't exist.
Okay.
And she sent over $30,000 to him via Bitcoin. So you've never seen this man before in your life?
No, I know both of those houses and the owners of them. I've never met that guy.
You've never met that guy? No. You've never met his daughter? He has a daughter named Cheesy Hughes as well?
Nope. The only kids, they're grown, and then they have 2 little kids. They're African-American family that we're friends with, and we don't know that family.
Well, since I'm not having any luck here, I'm going to head down to the local post office and see if anyone there has heard of Tom Hughes. Dr. Phil, after spending all day in Fremont, California, it's safe to say that Tom, or Thomas Hughes, does not live in this town.
There was no home at that address. It wasn't like there's a home there, but he doesn't live there. There's no home there.
I searched it too.
Yeah, and this address, there's only a tree.
Mom, you said you researched the address. What did you find out?
We did a satellite on the place. Harold and I both did. We couldn't find the house.
I wonder why.
I'm a believer in people. I guess I must be old-fashioned because I really believed he was real.
There is no Thomas Nunez Hughes or Tom Nunez Hughes or Thomas Hughes or Tom Hughes in California or the U.S. that was born on 9/15/60. The home address in Fremont does not exist. He also said he owned a condo in Tennessee. There's not a human being in Tennessee that owns a condo with that name. You said that his father was farmer. There is no farm in Knoxville, Tennessee associated with Colin Hughes, which is supposedly his father's name. There is no Spring Hill Hospital in Grahamtown, South Africa, or anywhere in the entire country of South Africa. That hospital does not exist. There is no Cheesy Hughes in Tennessee or the entire U.S., but we found the girl that was in the picture. The investigator did some findings as well. He looked at the phone number, because you're talking to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. This phone number is owned by a company that provides free texting and call apps. That's what scammers use. And it can be used anywhere worldwide with an internet connection. So this person that you say you're talking to in South Africa, he could be in Nigeria, he could be in Bangor, Maine, he could be in Mexico City. You don't know. He found the images of Tom Nunez Hughes listed on several websites since 2010. Likely stolen and used in countless countries. The person in the photo appears to be a Lebanese male residing in either Lebanon or the Netherlands. Now, the reason we've blurred his face for the audience and the millions of people watching at home is because we don't want anybody to think he's in on this, because he's not. He's a victim. The man in that picture is a victim. He's had his identity stolen. He did send you some sweet emails, right? Or text messages. We did a search on this, and it is completely plagiarized. Everything you want is inside my heart. Everything you want is inside my heart. Come, have it. Come and have it. They just cut it, paste it, hit send, and sweep you off your feet.
You know, I thought of that myself, but I guess my heart didn't want to let go. Now I have to let go.
I understand. How did Renee, an intelligent married woman, fall for an online predator? I have some thoughts as to why when we come back.
Music, no one saw. We're in seven.
Renee, listen, I take no pleasure in telling you this, because I know that this has been a great source of pleasure and peace for you. But if it's not real, and it's clearly not, then you need to know, right?
Right.
You want to know that. You need to stay off the internet. No, seriously. Seriously, because I know you've talked to this person, and I know across time you've talked to some other people. You really should not be pursuing internet relationships. If there's not somebody that you can talk to down at the corner coffee shop or the church or somewhere, if you don't look them in the eye, then you need to really restrict. And I don't know what's going on with you and Harold. That's a conversation for another day. But you need to unplug and stay off the internet at this point. Don't be looking for love on the internet.
Am I still disowned?
No.
Great. I want to thank all of my guests today. If you believe you've been a victim of an internet love scam, go to the FBI special website, ic3.gov. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. Now, Arlene on Facebook messaged me to ask, do you and Robin ever have date nights? Well, of course we do. We have date nights all the time. Sometimes it's not real exciting. The other night, we spent the entire night puzzling up.
Yes.
Working a jigsaw puzzle, and then she trounced me in Scrabble. You don't want to play her in Scrabble. I promise you, you don't want to do that.
It was your idea, though.
Yeah, it was my idea. I volunteered to take a whooping, which is pretty good. But yes, we go out. We have favorite restaurants we go to and things that we do. The other night, we spent 2 hours listening to Ronnie Dunn's new album, Redone. If you haven't heard it, he's a great friend of ours. If you haven't heard it, you should listen to it. It is fabulous. Yes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you next time.
You know, we have Wade, who's giving a list of demands.
Demands about what?
He's saying he's afraid we're going to exploit him. He's saying that if we mention his previous addiction, he's going to walk off the stage and bring his family.
Well, I'll solve that. Didn't he send a text message as well?
Yeah, oh God, here it is.
Can I see this? I mean, these people, they've got some real misperception that they're doing me some kind of favor being here. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Is this the text message?
Exactly.
This is it right here.
I'm pulling the plug. I'm out. You people disgust me. I'm taking my family home. You.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a daughter abusing drugs.
You knew she smuggled heroin on the airplane.
God knows.
This family
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
is ready to implode.
Are you doing drugs now?
I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. This isn't about me.
It's about whatever I decide it's about. It's been quite a morning. That's what it's like when you're dealing with addictions, emotions run high. Today's guests may own a beautiful home, a yacht, and take exotic vacations, but no one is immune from the drama of drugs. They may look like the perfect family. Mary is the one who reached out to me in fear of losing one of her stepdaughters, Shane, to a heroin addiction. But her brother Wade tried to sabotage the whole thing. He's been clean for 5 years and apparently thinks he knows everything. Take a look.
Wade doesn't want you to mention that he had a heroin addiction.
So let me just short circuit this.
Okay.
I'm not putting up with this.
Okay.
He's out.
Got
He's
it.
not coming on my stage. I am not listening to him abuse my staff in this way.
Okay. We'll go
And if the rest of them don't like it,
Yep.
they can load up and leave too.
Okay, tell them.
Yes, I'm not
Okay.
putting up with it for
Thank
1
you.
second.
All right, we'll
Thank
get
you.
it done.
But let me tell you something. You don't come in here and make demands of me. You don't come in here and cuss my staff out and start telling them what you're going to do and what you don't do, or your butt is on the street. You need to understand that. I got 10,000 people fighting to get on this stage here to get the help that we have to offer. You don't come in here and start telling me how to do what I do. If you do, take it walking, because I'm not listening to that from anybody. It's just that simple.
Hello, guys. So here's what's going on. We just had a conversation with Dr. Phil, and we told him your list of demands, and he's seen the text message saying that you guys are pulling the plug, we're exploiting you, and you want out. So, as you can imagine, this is Dr. Phil's platform, and people do not run this platform but Dr. Phil. So, this is your option. If you'd like to leave, you can go ahead.
No.
Okay.
You want to stay now?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to stay, then you have to understand, there's no, we can't talk about this, we can't not do this, there's no, you're going to threaten us, and we say this, you're going to walk off the stage. There's going to be none of that. So unless you're planning on completely participating, full force, you're out.
I was shocked when I heard this because we're here to save a life.
Exactly.
And that is what Dr. Phil's focus is on. So when he saw I'm out, he was like, okay, bye.
I think a lot has happened since then.
Okay.
And there's, as I said to Michael today, there's been a lot of conversation.
Okay.
So that's not Wade's position today.
Okay. We'll let Dr. Phil know. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was a change of heart.
I think he
You know?
realizes that he has to go all in or
Yeah.
we can't do this.
Yeah. Well, you know, Dr. Phil stood his ground as we knew he would.
Of course he would.
So, you know,
You know, as he says, you can't let
called
the tail
his
wag the
bluff.
dog.
Exactly. So we spoke to Wade and the family per your directive.
So he's gone, right?
No, he's here. He said he's not. He wants to do the show.
It's
He
not
wants
up to
talk you. He said he changed his mind. He was very quiet.
Well, I didn't. I mean, I'm not going to allow him to abuse the staff. That's what's wrong with these people. They're entitled. They get away with all of this crap. I have no interest in talking to this guy.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll tell him.
So would you like him to go home, period?
He can go to Starbucks. He can go home. I don't care what he does. And if one of them wants to join him, they can go to Starbucks with him. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to do what I know to do. Now, technically, this family was supposed to band together to save Shane, but it seems that this has been overshadowed by their own issues. They have a new normal that I am unwilling to accept. This may be a very short time. Take a look.
My family is in crisis right now. Michael and I live in panic every single day.
All my kids have struggled with drugs. Addiction runs in the family, and they picked up on it 100%.
I was 15 years old when my sister Kelsey died from an overdose. But I loved my sister.
When my sister passed away, I was 28 years old and I was clean. I could not maintain my sobriety from that day forward.
As a family, we do not talk about her death. It's too painful.
After Kelsey's death, Michael's youngest children, Wade and Shelby, started struggling with heroin.
My son Wade overdosed on heroin in our home, and I had to give him CPR.
Within 36 hours of each other, Mike had to give CPR to both Wade and Shelby.
I don't think my dad knew the full extent of my drug use, but I know he knew something was off with me.
I've been sober since 2016. Now that I have my life together, I want the same thing for my family. I've walked down your road, I've been around the block, so when you come at me and try to say, like, it's just my medication, that's not sober.
Shelby is on Suboxone, and she's been prescribed Klonopin for her anxiety.
My little sister Shelby says she's only on prescription medication, but you can look at her and tell something else is going on.
I'm not sure if Shelby's doing heroin, but I believe Shelby is doing something more than what she's prescribed.
Dealing with you is extremely difficult.
You say you're sober, but no one that's sober has a nasally voice and can't get words out.
Michael's a recovering alcoholic, and he has been on Suboxone for as long as I've known him. He has been prescribed Xanax for grief and anxiety. I know that he feels some shame in using it. Michael doesn't know what to do about the family issues, and he is truly overwhelmed.
Well, the family claims they're here to save their daughter and sister Shane, who not only struggles with drug addiction, but is also a hoarder.
Michael's oldest daughter, Shane, is using heroin.
I'm absolutely addicted to heroin right now.
I've been in Shane's life for 13 years, and she has struggled with drug addiction the entire time.
I always had an addictive personality my entire life. First time I tried heroin, I was, sniffing it. And then the next time I shot up IV heroin, and it was literally all she wrote at that point.
Just the other day, I took Shane to the methadone clinic. She went up the street to get cigarettes, and then I saw her get into someone's car and drive off. I'm assuming because Shane knew that we were coming out here to see Dr. Phil, that she saw it as her last chance to get a fix.
Shane's withering away. She's hoarding and living in complete filth.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Shane's hoarding is a solid 9 or 10. And it's totally out of control.
Whenever I'm in the house, I feel like I'm drowning under the weight of the piles that are around me. Jackets, sweaters, nighties, every type of leash.
Her apartment is basically uninhabitable.
These flies drive me nuts, so hopefully they will all fly into this. They're driving me absolutely crazy.
I'm so afraid that if she doesn't get help, that we'll lose her.
I don't know if you know what's been going on here with your son. You get tired of being lectured by this guy?
Yes.
He
He's 28 years old, and he feels that he's his own man, and
yeah, well, he can be that, and I wish him well.
Right.
But here's just one of the examples of what he's done with the staff. I'm pulling the plug. I'm out. You people disgust me. I'm taking my family home. You cherry picking our conversations for juicy content to exploit us. You're not going to speak to my staff that way.
No.
Not one time, not ever. I've been here 18 years. I got the same executive producer I started with 18 years ago. I got the same supervisors I started 18 years ago. I got the same cameramen I started with 18 years ago. And you know why? Because I protect them. I don't let people come in here and abuse my staff.
I respect that.
And for this arrogant, pompous message, and then start making demands. Okay, you're not going to speak about this. You can't bring this up. You can't do this. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. Somebody has seriously misrepresented me to him.
Michael and I are here for all of your advice.
You've never seen your daughter using.
I just saw that.
She smuggled heroin on the airplane.
Yes.
That's a federal offense. And later, she blames you in part for your sister's death because you didn't do anything when you went in her room and she had overdosed.
Wednesday, she says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times, and then she brings you this. I have 2 words for you. Photoshop. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
It is unfair to make up a baby so that you can have a nice party and feel loved. That is not why I did it.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion.
If you can ride, why walk?
But it comes with a price. An older sister lives in the basement.
New Dr. Phil, Thursday.
I'm absolutely addicted to heroin right now.
You've never seen your daughter using. Did you watch that tape piece?
Yeah, I just saw that.
And this is the first time you've seen it?
First time.
First time.
Let's take a look at Shane before she started doing drugs. This is age 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then here she is at age 36.
Right.
And if you think drugs won't ravage you, I mean, obviously they will.
Yes.
By the way, when she got here, she brought heroin with her, correct?
We found out after we got here that
She smuggled heroin on the airplane.
Yes, when we got here, I found out that she did that.
Okay, and you understand that's transporting drugs across state lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know she did that.
Many state lines. That's federal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a federal offense.
Yes.
Okay, and then when she got here, she then used the drugs, right?
I didn't see her personally, but I know that she did. She was saying that otherwise she would get really sick. She would get dope sick. Yes.
That's not true. She doesn't need to smuggle heroin to California to keep from getting dope sick.
Oh, I totally agree with that. That's what she had said to me. And
So you knew she was smuggling it?
No, God, no. No.
Well, what is it you're saying? You said that's what she told you after she got it?
After she got here.
Yeah.
After she got here.
Mary sent my producers 2 pictures of Shane after she arrived in Los Angeles.
Yep.
The first picture is Shane passed out after using at the hotel. The second picture is Shane at a pharmacy picking up syringes for her to use.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's clear that
That's
she's
why we're
using
here.
it. Yeah.
For your...
So obviously her judgment's impaired.
Absolutely.
Because she smuggled this on to a scheduled air carrier and transported drugs across state lines, which is a federal offense.
Yeah, I didn't know that she did that.
Yeah.
It was set up with the clinic that she was going to get methadone at a clinic here.
There was discussions at home, like, because she had told me that she was concerned. And I said, well, under no circumstances, I won't. I refuse to travel with you if you think that you're going to do that, because no. And then after, when we got here, she said that she had snuck some in.
I had no idea that happened, and I had talked to Shane because she had said, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? We had figured out there's a clinic here, she'd go to that. So this is totally news to me, and I told her she absolutely can't do that, and Mary also told her that. So I just don't want it to seem like this is a free-for-all or something. She was lectured. And
it is, because you're dealing with an addict. All you can do is tell them. I mean, you can't control all of her behavior. I totally get that.
Didn't give her any money. I mean, she needs cigarettes. I buy cigarettes.
Listen, this is her choice, and she's making it. All I'm asking is that you don't make it easier for her to do it.
That's right.
It does not even occur to me that you two endorsed her transporting drugs here from there. I get that.
Right. And we took separate flights. I wasn't with Shane when she came.
I totally get that. I think you would be horrified for her to get on a plane with you carrying drugs. I mean, they could arrest all of you.
Thrown in federal prison.
Yeah, they could arrest all of you.
Yes.
Well, Mary says that Michael is slowly killing his daughter Shane with his enabling ways. He says this is this new normal that's been created, which is allowing this to happen, which is creating ways for this to continue happening, is a serious problem. You're interrupting me. Are you saying that's not what you said?
No, no, I'm not interrupting you, sir.
No, are you telling me that's not what you said?
No, I did.
We record these interviews.
Yeah,
if you'd like me to pull that up, because
No,
you're going, no, you're stopping me. We record these interviews. I'm happy to pull that up.
Oh, gosh, no. If you say that I said it, then I said it.
No, I'm not saying you said
I
it.
mean,
You said it.
I did.
I have it recorded. If you want me to
I'm
play
not
it back for
disagreeing
you, I
with
will.
No, I'm good. I don't remember saying it through that, but no, if I said it, I said it. And
I think she means in that context of that direct.
No, but Dr. Phil, I've made no bones about the fact that Michael has enabled.
We'll be right back. You've had problems with alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted. Have you asked yourself why that might be? And later, you buy them all cars.
No.
Okay. Let's just take a look at what Michael has provided to children. I count 8 cars up there.
This February, one show.
Hundreds of couples targeted by an imposter in a fake adoption scandal.
Gabby told us that she was 15, she was pregnant with twin girls. She had hurt so many families.
It's now time to finally meet Gabby. You led them to believe that you had a baby.
I'm done.
Has it all.
David became the poster boy for extreme weight loss after he shed 400 pounds. But his makeover didn't last because David regained it. He now weighs 648 pounds.
I can't stop my son from eating too much. Voila, Pepsi.
How is that funny to you? Food's not fickle, is it? It never calls you a name. It never throws anything at you. It just kills you.
It's destroyed my life.
I'm telling you, if everybody around you is buying your and sabotaging you, it ain't gonna change.
Dr. Phil, February.
Before we get back to today's program, I want to tell you about what we have coming up Friday. Now, Alyssa, Amanda, and their brother Dylan say they live in constant fear of their 25-year-old brother Ryan, who they call Raging Ryan, because of the outrageous temper tantrums that he has when he doesn't get his way. And Ryan's sisters and brothers say their mother, Erica, is his biggest enabler because she'll make his favorite meals and even buy him marijuana just to try to keep him from exploding. Now, on Friday, we'll find why Ryan says he feels he must constantly smoke marijuana or else he'll go into a violent rage. Take a look.
Look, you're gonna get your weed, okay?
When the is she gonna come right now? I swear to God. I'm serious. When is she gonna come?
Punch that.
I don't get.
What are you doing?
I'm not playing anymore. Please get the out of here. Get the out.
Okay.
Get the
Hey.
out.
Now, according to his family, Ryan, who lives at home and holds a job about a day a week, bullies his siblings and his parents for money for marijuana. Now, I talked to Ryan about why he was tuning out his life and not planning a future. You do not want to miss it. All right, let's get back to this family.
I think my father 100% enables my sisters, and I think he's even enabled me.
Michael's been paying for Shane's apartment for almost 4 years, and it was supposed to be just a temporary situation until she got back on her feet. While Wade was growing up, if he ever got into trouble, Michael paid lawyers so that Wade didn't have to suffer consequences.
In 2015, Shelby was in a sober living environment, and she was doing awesome. She threatened him that she would run away to the streets, so my dad let her back home.
Dr. Phil would say that Michael parents out of guilt. I believe that he's making up for the death of Kelsey.
I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. Michael is now trying to keep his other drug-addicted daughter, Shane, from doing the same thing. And his logic in this is, I at least know where she is. I at least know she's not out under a bridge somewhere or committing crimes that can get her killed or whatever. And so it's a lot easier for me, who's removed from the situation, to say that's not the thing to do than it is for a parent who's talking about their own child to find the strength to take a hard line. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But in reality, is he really, in fact, contributing to putting her on the same path as the daughter he's lost? Let's take a look.
Our family is in a minefield, and we are about to explode. I don't know how to fix them. When there is sobriety in the family, it is such a beautiful thing, but it's rare. I think I enabled my children by giving them too much and not saying no enough. I feel responsible for the way they've turned out with the drug abuse. My daughter Shane is on a methadone maintenance program, and she uses heroin along with that, and that has escalated tremendously. I'm in a continuous state of mourning and fear of losing another child. I've been sober for 38 years from alcohol. I'm under a doctor's prescribed sedatives, and I take no other drugs. I take the sedatives to help me cope with the grief from my daughter's death. My son Wade thinks that the whole family needs help. I'm not going to take a lecture from Wade, who has put me through the ringer. I love Wade, but he really can't start throwing stones.
Look, we got to make a decision here. Anytime that I am going to deal with somebody that is on drugs, if you go back and look at all of the interviews, interventions, interactions I've done, I always talk to the family first before I talk to the addict. You know that? And yes. You know why? Because I'm assessing what resources I have. Because if I get them out here and family members start backpedaling, making excuses for them, buying into their fiction of life and all, that just gets in my way. And so sometimes I just don't have those people out here. That's why I'm talking to you guys right now, because look, you've buried one daughter, and you say that you're taking these sedatives and medications because you're grieving. You want to know what I think? I think you're taking them because you're not grieving.
Yep.
You haven't done the grief work. You haven't faced this situation and dealt with it. I'm not someone that believes you put yourself in a chemical straitjacket so you don't feel pain. I don't think you dull your senses so you don't deal with the realities of life. There are times that I believe that medications can help, but you say, I'm taking these sedatives, but I'm not on any drugs, only what my doctor gives me. Right. Whether you buy those drugs in an alley or you get them from a doctor, they can be as addictive no matter where you get them. They can be as conscious altering no matter where you get them. The only difference is if you get them from your physician, you at least know what's in them. What is it your physician has prescribed you?
It's a benzo, and I take it at night after 9 or 10 o'clock, just to, at the end of the day. I never, ever take it during the day. And I don't live off of that in a constant state.
And
ever.
You're on Suboxone?
Yes.
So you've had problems with substances?
Yes, I have.
Alcohol and drugs?
Yes.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted to heroin. You've had a son that's addicted to heroin. You've got another daughter that also has issues with drugs.
Right.
So everybody in this environment has problems with substances.
Right.
Have you asked yourself why that might be? Well, I count 8 cars, and none of them paying rent or bills. You're paying their way through life.
The situation I've gotten myself into is just overwhelming.
A new episode of Dr. Phil's true crime podcast, Twisted Love, bringing a murderer to justice.
The family of missing mom, Michelle Warner, had just landed in Los Angeles to tape an interview with me about her disappearance when they got the devastating news. Michelle's ex-boyfriend, Mark Castellano, had confessed to her brutal killing. They want to see justice.
Mystery and Murder, analysis by Dr. Phil. Episodes 1 through 4 now available on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted to heroin. You've had a
Yes.
son that's addicted to heroin. You've got another daughter that also has issues with drugs.
Right.
So everybody in this environment has problems with substances.
Right.
Have you asked yourself why that might be?
Besides being hereditary, the community we live in, my enabling, it's just a rampant disease in our
How many of them
country
live on their own, support themselves, make their own way in life?
None.
Sorry?
None at all. No, just
none of them.
No, just Shane, who has an apartment that's, as you see, is in. It's not an apartment. It's a mess.
But you pay for her.
Yes.
You buy them all cars.
No, but I've in the past, yes, they got the first car when they got their licenses.
Well, let's just take a look at what Michael has provided his children. I didn't want to waste time doing this, but we want to split hairs. Okay, you've purchased Shane an Infiniti and a Jeep Cherokee, Wade 2 WRX, Kelsey a Honda Accord, Shelby a Saab, and 2 Hondas. Shane's bills, she hasn't worked in 8 years. There's a family phone plan, $400 a month. Shelby and Wade don't pay rent. So you want to spend time telling me that you don't pay for these kids?
No, I wouldn't say that. I absolutely pay for them.
Well, I count 8 cars up there.
Right.
And none of them paying rent or bills. So you're paying their way through life. Don't you get tired?
Oh.
You have no idea.
Oh,
I bet you do. But Dr. Phil, it's the situation I've gotten myself into is just overwhelming.
What you've spent on treatments and lawyers and plus all of this stuff, you've probably gone through $250,000.
More than that.
If you had right now, if you had $250,000, somebody just handed you, said, here's after-tax bucks, $250,000, that would help a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely, it certainly would. But
and if you had spent that money, say $500,000, I know there's been $100,000 spent on lawyers and rehabs. If you had spent that money and they were all healthy and happy and productive, it would be a bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've actually spent it, and every one of them is dysfunctional. So you haven't spent it to help,
right.
You've just spent it for either no good purpose or to actually hurt the situation.
Absolutely.
Look, there's another child in the mix here. Michael's 23-year-old daughter, Shelby, says she wants help for her sister Shane, even though she's struggling with demons of her own. Well, let's add Shelby to the mix after the break and see what she has to say.
I didn't just lose Kelsey, I also lost Shane. Because Shane's issues are louder, my dad and Mary put her issues first, so I can't ask for help. I'm trying so hard and nobody's noticing.
Wednesday, she says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times, and then she brings you this. I have 2 words for you. Photoshop. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
It is unfair to make up a baby so that you can have a nice party and feel loved. That is not why I did it.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion,
If you can ride, why walk?
but it comes with a price. An older sister lives in the basement.
New Dr. Phil. Thursday.
Shelby struggles with PTSD because of the death of her sister Kelsey.
My daughter Shane blames Shelby for her sister's death. She just won't get off the blame game.
Apparently, the night of Kelsey's death, Shelby was going to a concert. She had gone into Kelsey's room and saw that Kelsey had passed out, but didn't think to say anything.
When Shane and Shelby are together, Shane puts on a good face, but I believe she still holds resentments. I want Shelby to get off the guilt trip and begin living life.
Well, Shelby says that instead of her sister Kelsey's overdose being a wake-up call, it really made things in her family worse. She says her dad, Michael, gives all of his money and attention to her other drug-addicted sister, Shane. Take a look.
My family needs Dr. Phil's help desperately. We don't talk about any of our problems, and when we do, it's sugar-coated. The day Kelsey died, she was going to let me use her ID to get into a concert. I kept knocking on her door, but she didn't answer. I ended up going through her window, and she was in the corner with a needle in her arm. I thought she was just asleep. I kind of was like, I love you, and I left. My sister Shane said since I didn't like Kelsey that much, that I didn't do anything. I'm still grieving because I didn't just lose Kelsey, I also lost Shane. My drug use took off after Kelsey died. I was using weed, coke, to meth, to heroin. I went to rehab and then sober living. I came home and I relapsed. I've overdosed about 4 times and I've been clean for about 6 months. I'm not doing any illegal drugs, just taking medication. Because Shane's issues are louder, my dad and Mary put her issues first, so I can't ask for help. I get so stressed out, I go crazy. I feel like I'm trying so hard in so many different areas of my life, and nobody's noticing.
Well, Shelby, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I've read every word. We ask you a million questions, right? I mean, I've listened to every word that you've said. We record everything. I've read everything. And she's very honest, by the way, and also very intelligent. And there's a theme that goes through it all. And the theme that I'm picking up, and you tell me if I'm reading this right, is kind of, you're not bad enough to get their attention, but you're making bad enough choices to be in trouble. I mean, you're not making healthy choices every step of the way, but Shane is making such horrific choices that you're kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
I was crazy. I did bad stuff, but like I've been doing really well. And Shane does take up a lot of their time and priorities because she's in a bad place.
She blames you in part for your sister's death.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do anything when you went in her room and she had overdosed.
I didn't know.
Of course you didn't know.
I feel like I should have known. I should have done something, or I should have called my parents and told them, you know, Kelsey's messed up again, or...
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any theory in any universe, this or some parallel universe, in which you would walk up on your sister and think she was in a life-threatening situation and go, huh, and just walk away?
No.
That would never happen in a million years, would it?
Never.
All you can react to is what you perceive at the time. All we can respond to is what we know, what we encode, what we take in and perceive. And I'm sorry, but you were how old at the time?
I had just turned 15.
At 15, that is an unreasonable standard to hold yourself to. Now, look, I'm Mr. Accountability. You got to know that. I don't make excuses for people. I don't let people make excuses for themselves. You have to hold yourself to a reasonable standard. And negligence is failing to do what a reasonable person would do in the same or similar circumstances. And this just does not appear negligent to me. A 15-year-old child is not to be held to a standard of assessing this situation, determining that this time it's life-threatening, and so I need to start ringing bells.
Yeah.
And you need to give yourself that pass. You didn't choose that overdose, your sister did. And if Shane overdoses, she'll make that choice. You won't make it. Are you doing drugs now?
No. I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. This isn't about me, it's about Shane.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. She says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
That's Wednesday.
Season 18 is underway. All we need is you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Are you doing drugs now?
No.
Are you doing any chemicals at all right now?
I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. I mean, it's
What's it for?
opiate prevention and anxiety.
When it's really bad, what do you experience?
Like someone sitting on my chest, and like I'm just trying to get out of a hole, and even if I'm in a room with somebody, like they can't hear me, and it's just the worst feeling in the world.
I 100% believe that's what you experience. It's kind of like paralysis. You can't run, but you want to, and you can't scream, but you want to, and you can't breathe, but you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a real panicky feeling. And I think that's very real. And I think tied up with that is very closely is depression. And those two are oftentimes very intertwined.
Yeah.
When I asked you that, you said, I'd rather not say what you're taking. Why?
Just because, like, this isn't about me, it's about Shane.
It's about whatever I decide it's about. And
Okay.
Because it's all part of a puzzle. This is not Shane's issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is a family issue. And let me tell you something, whether you like it or not, you're just as important to me as Shane. This whole family needs help. She's just a symptom of this dynamic here, as are you, everybody here.
Shane has just been ripping my dad's heart out.
And you know the problem here that you're facing is her problems and Shane's problems are way over your pay grade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
Not because you're a bad parent, it's just because you're just a parent. Mm-hmm. And sometimes issues rise to a level that you can't parent your way out of. You need additional help. All right, now we've been talking about this family dynamic, and there's one more member that we need to add, and that is Shane. I understand that she has locked herself in the bathroom. Oh, no. So we're going to find out what's going on when we meet her next.
So this is my day. When I get high, it is the only thing that I do that helps me not think about my sister.
Shane?
Yeah.
Today's show is almost over, but we are hard at work on tomorrow's show and beyond. And we are always looking for great guests. Do you know the biggest enabler of the century? If you want them to get a seat on our stage, be sure to log on to drphil.com and click Be on the Show or text Phil to 88500. We want to hear all about it. Want to know what's coming up on Dr. Phil? Visit our website and subscribe to our email newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else.
Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today.
My team told me that Shane has locked herself in the bathroom and is refusing to talk to her family or me. There is so much more to this family that we have yet to discover, layer after layer after layer.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, Shane joins the conversation.
When was the last time you shot up with heroin?
Less than 24 hours ago.
9 years ago, she lost a sister to drugs.
Maybe I will overdose and go to heaven.
Joining your sister, that's pretty gutless.
And thinks her other sister may be at fault.
Do you still blame Shelby for her role in Kelsey's death?
I just want somebody to blame.
Don't you blame yourself?
Will this family accept the help?
You're suffering from anxiety and depression. Are you doing drugs now?
I'm on medication.
I want to give you the help you need. Would you like to do that?
No.
Oh, Shelby.
That's tomorrow.
I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I definitely read your comments and questions. I saw a tweet on my feed that I wanted to share with you. Lacey says, when my mom watches the Dr. Phil show without me, that's exactly how I feel when Robin watches TV shows without me. We don't really do that much, right? We start it and then I fall asleep and then she tells me what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for today. We'll see you next time. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, my guest today looks like she stepped right out of an episode of The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Lydia was sipping champagne in her fur hat, surrounded by her Italian oil paintings and expensive furniture in her mansion in the California hills when we met up with her and her daughters. But her younger daughter, Kim, says, look a little closer.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Putting on the Ritz.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded mansion,
we're going up to the champagne room. If you can ride, why walk?
But it comes with a price. One giant mess and an older sister she calls the Royal Queen Demon Child.
It's not my responsibility to take care of Lori.
Who lives in the basement.
You make it sound like I put her in a dungeon.
No, I make it sound like what it is.
I know you're tired. I know you haven't had sleep. Lori has been bullied in school.
But she's 58. Kim says this fairy tale is more of a nightmare.
My mom owns a mansion. It's like 6,000 square feet. My mom is a spitfire.
Okay, here's the friggin' elephant in this room.
She's like a cross between Zsa Zsa Gabor and Lucille Ball. But the hat, diamond, champagne.
We're going up to the champagne room. If you can ride, why walk?
My mom looks like she's living the high life. Behind these ornate doors, there's a completely different story. The house is a mess. Gargoyles from France, paintings from Italy, chandeliers from someplace fabulous, but then hoarders stacks of papers and things that haven't been looked at in 20 years. She says some of the art is very valuable and other stuff is garbage, but only she knows. She walked me through the house and she said, garbage, perfect, take this, stick this under your arm. Nothing's written down. I can't remember. What makes it worse is my sister is mentally ill. She's 58 years old. She lives in a tiny portion of this house. Mom set up an apartment for her in the basement. It's all pink. Lori struggles with severe OCD. Okay, I'm ready. Major depression. She was never taught any basic skills. It's complete learned helplessness. She just can't do anything for herself. That she became completely isolated, unlikable, kind of like a little demon. Lori's like a royal, victimized, handicapped person. She sits in this big, giant chair. She's a genius at getting to do nothing.
Because I hate that.
Okay. Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get.
She could live with my mom forever. It would be okay because they like each other. But nobody else finds Lori likable. I would rather die than have my sister live with me. I don't want to be the person that has to get my sister committed. My family situation is a crazy, sad, black comedy. I mean, what is it about the universe where you grow up in a house and the address is actually 5150? Can you see me sitting in this house with my sister and there's just me and her and all this stuff and a bunch of cats? I need Dr. Phil to help me tell my mom that it's not my responsibility to take care of Lori.
You said, I would rather die than live with my sister. That's pretty strong. Tell me about that.
There's just no way to win. There's no way to help her. You can't get her to do anything for herself. If you try to give her advice, she yells at you. It's complicated.
And what do you think's wrong with your sister? Nothing?
I think it's a combination of a very difficult beginning. I think there are real medical things that went wrong. I think she didn't come out happy and normal. And I think that from that moment, maybe even before she was born, there was like a symbiotic agreement that Mom and Lori would never cut the cord.
So this is set up where you're going to inherit this mansion along with your sister. Well, let's look at this mansion that you're expected to inherit. Your mother gave us a tour.
This house makes me feel like I'm in Italy. It makes me feel like people are dancing around. It gives me nothing but happiness and pleasure. So we have arrived into the entrance of my small champagne room. I love the clean lines of the Oriental furniture that are really quite different from the Italian. The tusks are very special. I want you to know that no elephant was harmed. These are not the tusks of a real elephant. I love the horses. They work with the tusks. Everything is a work in progress. This table, my father bought it in Italy. It's a beautiful piece of marble. I love this thing. It's real gold. It's got rose quartz handles. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? This is what I'm going to wear for the downstairs tour. So we've landed in the dining room. The beautiful detail of the craftsmanship of this gorgeous table. Obviously, if you're going to have peacock windows, you do need to have some peacock fans. My stepfather bought this ship for the family in the 1950s. I believe a Spanish galleon. These glasses are Murano glasses. The color that they make is mixed with gold. I don't know what it is about me, but I love beautiful furniture. These chairs, there's only a handful of them in the world, and there are some, I think, in palaces that Queen Elizabeth owns. These are the things I think that makes a house feel fun. This particular piece of furniture, we affectionately call it the Queen's desk, and you can leave that to your imagination as to who that belongs to. One of my favorite things that I happened to see in a window was this horse. I put him out here in the entrance, so he is my greeter. Those dogs are from Brazil. Each piece of glass has been put there by hand. I like combining whimsical with classical if they work. This has sort of a religious feel to it. It looks like something when you'd walk into church, there might be some holy water in there. In this house, however, it would probably be champagne. Beautiful view. I wish I could take the with me. I like it all.
Well, pretty complex house. I mean, a lot of things, right? She thinks you're overreacting. Take a look.
Kim's concern once I'm gone is that she would inherit the house and also have to take care of her older sister. I think Kim is playing the victim in this situation. I've done everything legally that I need to do to see to it that Kim and Lori are both secured at the time of my death. The question in Kim's mind as to what to do with the house and the things within the house. 99% of the people out there don't have all these things that you call junk. This is my life. I'm still alive. And when Mama goes, Mama goes. But I live my life the way I choose to right now. I love all of the collectibles, and I intend to live my life exactly the way I need to live it for me. If I was having a conversation with Kim right now, I would say, you know, get off the cross. It's occupied.
You say she needs to get off the cross, it's occupied.
Yes, I did.
So what do you mean?
Kim has so much to offer, and I think there's an awful lot in her that holds on to being the victim, because the reality is the relationship with Kim and Lori had been very difficult. It's not easy when you have one daughter that has problems that are very real problems.
She thinks this is because she is being enabled and is allowed to get by with all of this, and basically thinks while there may be some issues that are there, that she's running a con on you.
Lori has been bullied in school and all kinds of problems, and she does have a chemical problem, and I'm not hiding behind that. But what I will say is that...
But she's 58. How long has she been living back with you?
She's been back with me for 7 years. And
living in a room?
And it's... Well, you make it sound like I put her in a dungeon.
No, I make it sound like what it is. She's living in a room.
She wants to live in... Well, it's a space that has a kitchen, a bathroom, a shower, a washer and dryer, and that's because she needed some privacy. And I needed some privacy.
For 7 years? I mean, she doesn't do...
I wouldn't need it for 7 years.
Does she engage with people?
No, she doesn't. She's not good with that at all. She needs to get out of her own way.
Well, we're going to find out why Kim says this might be a case of Munchausen's. She'll explain why she says that when we come back.
Munchausen is an insecure mother who needs to make a child sick so that they could get attention. All I need to do to get attention, frankly, is to put on an eyebrow and a bra, and I get all the attention I need.
Tomorrow.
They live in fear of their brother Ryan, who they say turns into a monster if he doesn't get what he wants, mainly marijuana.
Ryan, stop!
You don't have an anger problem. That's a relief.
Get the f out!
You actually believe that you have the right to rage like this?
The weed smoking isn't a problem. I feel like everything that I do is right.
It's unbecoming and it's outrageous.
That's tomorrow. Then on Monday.
He lost their retirement fund, mostly on women he met online.
Sophie is mute. April and I are engaged. This lady is Jane.
Kind of like a soap opera.
Meet Dr. Phil, Monday.
My doorways are very important to me. They're beautiful. They're all beautiful. The candle holders are quite lovely. This particular piece here was bought in Sorrento along with a matching desk. These glasses I bought when we were in Germany. I know, or possibly, I think they were bought in Milan. One of the things that I love the most about this house, really the most, is the spectacular view. Even on a day like today when the rain has been out and the sun is trying to give us a little smile before we leave.
Well, Lydia's daughter, Kim, emailed me because she says she is terrified that not only is she going to inherit her mother's, what she describes as overcrowded and messy mansion, but also her sister, whom she calls an out-of-control demon child. Why do you say you think this is Munchausen?
I don't mean it in the way like the movies where it's like the arsenic's on the donut and then she calls herself a good mother because the kid's dying. I don't mean that.
Okay.
I think there's a type of illness that's so symbiotic where when the mother's having a great time and the daughter says, "Oh, I'm bleeding, oh," and you're like, well, but you've been doing that for 58 years. There's always something. There's always a new disease to go to the doctor and kill whatever's going on with anybody else.
Do you react to this if she comes up with these vague complaints that disrupts the flow of things?
I will say this. Look, you're the doctor. You can tell me if I have the first disease, what is it called? Munchausen by proxy.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think that there was a symbiosis that happened when I carried Lori. I was alone. I was in a situation where I was alone morning, noon, and night.
Yeah, she's 58.
And so I get that, Dr. Phil. I really do.
But is she manipulative?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
There's no question about it.
Her stepfather's 95th birthday, she announced she had cancer.
I didn't hear that.
On the morning of the 95th birthday, which I only would have had a couple of hours to spend with her, she calls her crying. She needs to come up. Her teeth are bleeding, and she thinks it's cancer. And she sat and wrote down, "I have cancer, I have cancer." I went upstairs, and there's always an excuse.
There's truth to what you're saying, that she finds every little thing, because she doesn't have a life. And so when she tells me these little things, sometimes daily, she'll say, "Well, what's wrong with you? Well, can you just look at this rash?" And she'll say, "What do you think it is?" And I said, "It's cancer." Because why not? She thinks it's going to be cancer. I don't want to talk about it for 15 hours. I said, check with your doctor and make sure that you're not right. I mean, I do have a sense of humor. Okay? I mean, trust me, you have to have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
when
that's
you have
the knee slapper.
situations like this. Oh, yeah. Does she manipulate? Yes. But she's also very loving, very giving. Also there's things that Kim doesn't see. Kim will see things from her perspective. She doesn't see the other things. So, yeah, of course we
How
do.
is she giving?
Well, for example, the other day when she went to the doctor, she came back and she said, "Oh, Mommy, I know you're in a rush. I bought you a sandwich from Subway."
But you know what I think about when I hear you say that?
Sure, what? Go ahead.
I've sucked you dry for 7 years. Here's a sandwich.
I don't think she thinks like that.
No, I don't think she thinks that way, but I think that's what's happening. Coming up, we're going to meet Lori. I understand she was having some difficulty backstage with our staff earlier. So we'll see if she will join us next. We'll see.
We went to Lori to talk to her about wardrobe choices for the show today. She wouldn't even entertain the idea of changing her socks. She had blue hospital socks on.
I can't do this. Lori, what? I feel like I'm being, Lori, you're here on trial, but you're not. You're taping me. This is what we're here for, to see where you're at and what you need.
We sent our hair and makeup artist down to Lori's dressing room because she didn't want to come upstairs, and once we sent them down, she refused to do hair and makeup.
No, I don't want to get my hair and makeup done. I haven't slept in a week. But you cannot leave.
They're done
This
questioning
is not right for you to do for your life. Sit down, please.
Here, come back.
Now you sit down. Don't do that. I know you're tired. I know you haven't had sleep. Is ridiculous. And she's just getting off of medication.
And later, are you surprised that she feels that way?
Yes, I'm insulted she feels that way.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the reasons we don't get along.
Yeah, if you thought somebody's going to kill you, that would certainly dry up the conversation.
I don't get to see my mother very often because of my sister. It's not worth the brain damage. So when I do come to town, I stay in hotels. I've seen when the medication doesn't work, because that's the excuse. There's always an excuse when Lori, goes off the rails. When she gets mad, she gets like those cobra eyes. And I imagine she could hurt me or scare me. I don't really believe that she would kill me, but I'm not sure. If my mother wasn't alive and my sister got into an angry fit, she could maybe trip me down the stairs if she thought she could get away with it.
Well, ever since Kim's mother, Lydia, started talking about her will, Kim has been overwhelmed with the idea of inheriting what she describes as a rundown, messy mansion, along with her older sister, who Kim says is a manipulating genius. Now, Kim claims that her glamorous and spitfire 78-year-old mother is to blame for her sister's childish behavior. Take a look.
I admit that. Part of the problem is that I've done too much for Lori. I have been very enabling, and I have stopped doing that. Lori would have a problem with any future changes after I'm gone. What would she do in her life? Where would she go? I don't think Kim should have the responsibility of providing for Lori because I think I can get that handled. Kim thinks that there is a Munchausen situation and that I don't see it. Munchausen is an insecure mother who needs to make a child sick so that they could get attention. All I need to do to get attention, frankly, is to put on an eyebrow and a bra, and I get all the attention I need. Have since I was a little girl. Thank God one of the gifts that I received was being attractive. I wish for Kim to live the way she needs to live. I wish for Lori to live in the way that she needs to live. This makes me feel like I'm living my life, and I intend to do that for another 50 years or so. And I'll drink to that.
Lori says both her mother and sister have always looked down on her because of her mental illness, as she describes it.
My relationship with my mom is very toxic. She's very overprotective. Oh, I didn't sleep very well, and I just want to go downstairs and relax.
And you just got off that medication, didn't you?
She tends to talk down to me. She makes me feel incompetent in front of people. It embarrasses me and it affects my self-esteem. She's been making me feel like this all my life. I think she does it because of my OCD and my clinical depression and because I have emotional problems. We get along most of the time, but when we argue, it's because she gets impatient with my illness. My OCD causes me to worry about everything. My OCD causes me to check things all the time. There is always a constant fear of getting ill, getting sick, dying, that type of thing. My sister Kim always looked down on me because of my illness, and she's always been afraid of me. She's even said to my mother multiple times that she thought I was going to kill her, but that is not true. My sister Kim makes herself the victim. My fear is I might end up alone in this world and maybe end up homeless or with no one to love me, no one to care for me. I wonder how I'm going to make it. I wonder how I'm going to survive. I would say to Kim, I hope that someday we can be close and we can get along. I hope you can help me.
So how are you feeling today?
Very nervous.
Mm-hmm. We've been kind of talking, and I'm interested in knowing how you think you get along with your sister, Kim.
We're not real close. I just don't think she understands my illness.
Mm-hmm. You said you're afraid of heights, so you needed a dressing room downstairs.
Yes, I won't go upstairs.
But I was watching on film, and you were going on stairs.
If she didn't have 2 handrails, I wouldn't even be going up those.
There you are.
I don't want to see it. Oh, okay. No, I don't want to see it.
Because
I'm
you're
all
just,
hunched over.
you're not even using your cane or anything. You're just zipping.
Because I'm hanging on 2 handrails.
Yeah. But our stairs are not as steep as those stairs.
I saw your stairs. I wouldn't be here on this stage if I had to go up those stairs.
Yeah. Ours are carpeted with handrails.
Doesn't matter. I wouldn't go up.
Yeah. Well, I've just found that interesting. Okay. What do you do for fun?
I just usually watch a lot of television.
We actually went to visit you.
Oh, yes.
Coach Mike went to see Lori and spent some time with her. We'll take a look at that when we come back.
Oh, hi. Are they filming now?
They are, yeah.
I just want this done as soon as possible so I can leave.
Okay.
My mom keeps telling me that Dr. Phil is the only person who can help me because I want a very small life.
What do you do day to day here?
I just visit with my mom and watch television.
And later...
That's not what I was told.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's why we're giving you a fact check here. Well, Kim says she's so scared of her sister Lori that she fears for her life. Kim says Lori is a demon child that would do anything for attention, even tripping her down the stairs. But Lori says that's far from the truth. Now, their mother, Lydia, agrees because she says Lori has never been physical with anyone and wonders if their daughters will ever get along. You plan on killing her?
Of course not.
Plan on tripping her down the stairs?
No.
Are you surprised that she feels that way?
Yes, I'm insulted she feels that way.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the reasons we don't get along.
Yeah, if you thought somebody's going to kill you, that would certainly dry up the conversation. I mean, well, Mike Baer is a life coach and the CEO of Cast Centers. He wrote a New York Times best-selling book called Best Self, Be You Only Better. And I consider him the best at helping people maximize their true potential. And I asked Coach Mike to meet up with Lori yesterday, so he paid her a visit.
I'm here at the home of Lydia and Lori, and Dr. Phil has asked me to come to their house and figure out what is going on.
You're coming, Lori. I'm really tired. I know. I don't know how much longer I can hang on.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mike.
Oh, hi. Are they filming now?
They are, yeah.
I just want this done as soon as possible so I can leave.
Yeah.
Good.
So tell me a little bit about you.
My mom keeps telling me that Dr. Phil is the only person who can help me because I want a very small life. The only thing I want to do is to fall in love again, maybe have a few more friends, have a home by the water.
What do you do day to day here?
I just visit with my mom and watch television. I was in a common law marriage for 30 years, and my husband died 7 years ago, and then I moved in with my mom.
And are you actively doing anything to meet men?
Not at the moment.
No. And when was the last time you did?
I haven't.
And what type of men do you like? Like when you say fall in love?
Someone who's kind, caring, childlike. The only thing I want is just to meet somebody and...
For sure. And there's like, over here's meeting someone, and then there's like all the steps to get there, right?
Yeah.
Because Amazon doesn't give those in delivery yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bad joke, but...
I don't know what that means.
Oh, Amazon is a delivery service.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't order anything off Amazon?
I don't have a computer. I don't want one. And...
The TV serves its purpose.
Yes.
Exactly. So, talk to me about what it's like to live with OCD.
The OCD affects my life by making me worry constantly about everything.
Has it progressed for you?
It's gotten a little worse as I've gotten older.
What's worse today than maybe what was?
It just made me feel hopeless, scared.
Hopeless?
Yeah,
okay.
sad. I'm on some very serious medication, and if I don't get these medications every single day, I will die.
The whole intention of this is to help you, not hurt you. You know you need more connection with people, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have this part of you that's
I'm
like...
a very private person. I like to be alone.
You say you watch TV, so what do you like to watch on TV?
Laverne and Shirley. I just constantly have the TV going. Even if I don't watch it, it's on.
It's almost like medicating.
Yeah.
If it would be nice to have more friends and fall in love, what do you think will need to shift?
Probably for me to get out of my room and go places to make friends.
Yeah, because unless there's a robbery and someone comes in, I don't know how you're going to meet a man.
Yeah.
And so we'll sit down with Dr. Phil and talk about what decisions you need to make.
I mean, like when I met my husband, we fell in love right away, and I didn't need Dr. Phil's help to do that.
Well, I think you're in a different spot now. Can you tell me a little bit about with your mom and sister's dynamic?
Well, my mom basically has damaged me by overprotecting me all my life. My sister has always been judgmental and has treated me very badly because of my OCD and my depression.
What do you think it'll take to improve that?
I think they need to change.
And so we're gonna sit down with Dr. Phil, present it to him, and see what he has to say.
Okay.
When Lori left the house, she hobbled, hunched over with her cane, and I got the impression that she really takes on the role of being just so weak, so sick, incapable, and just overall wanting to be left alone. I just sat down with your daughter, Lori. What do you wish was different?
I wish that, first of all, my daughters were together in terms of at least being able to be pleasant to one another and maybe down the line actually get to know each other and like each other.
And so if you could wave a magic wand, what would things look like for Lori?
I think that Lori needs to be away from Mom, who is right here if she has a problem and just can come upstairs. In order to get well, she might have to turn Laverne and Shirley off and do something for herself.
I'll go back to Dr. Phil and tell him what we spoke about.
I'll drink to that, Mike.
So I'll fist bump it to that.
All right, there you go.
How did you find your conversation with Coach Mike?
It's okay.
You were like in a hurry, so I need to get this over with here.
Yeah,
what were you? So. What were you busy with? What were you in a hurry to get to?
I was told by all of my psychiatrists if I don't get these medications every single night,
that you'll die?
Yes.
Dr. Sophie?
Yes, sir.
Are there medications that if you miss a dose, you die? How did you find your conversation with Coach Mike? What were you busy with? What were you in a hurry to get to?
Well, I don't sleep well at night, and I was just tired. I just wanted to rest.
Okay. Did anything she said to Coach Mike jump out at you?
In terms of...
Well, like, for example, she said there's medications I'm taking that if I don't take them, I'll die.
I don't know if she was told that by a doctor.
I was told that by all my psychiatrists.
So I don't know if that's factual or not, Dr.
It is true.
So I don't know what she was told as far as that goes.
Really?
I was told by all of my psychiatrists if I don't get these medications every single night...
That you'll die?
Yes.
You miss a dose, you're dead.
Yes.
I want to introduce Dr. Charles Sophie as a board-certified and licensed psychiatrist. He is really steeped in psychopharmacology. Dr. Sophie?
Yes, sir.
Are there medications that if you miss a dose, you die?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is there anything, I mean, that we're talking about in treatment of depression or OCD? Is there a medication that if you miss a dose, you die?
No, but it will make it worse, and that's maybe what they were trying to convey to her.
No,
if you don't stay with your medication, keep it at a blood level it needs to be, the disease can take over again.
Yeah, that's not what they're saying. They're saying you miss a dose, you die.
No, not at all.
That's not what I was told.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's why we're giving you a fact check here.
And there could be some truth, because even before I arrived, when you said I can't hold on any longer and you were tired, it goes from a 4 to a 10, just with being tired, right? And what I noticed was a lot of kind of extreme thinking around illness, problems with you.
Because if you're sleep deprived, you have poor quality sleep, that can really, really cause fatigue and general malaise. That can really rob you of your energy, cognitively, physically, particularly if it's chronic. That can make it really difficult for you. And sometimes if you sleep too much, it can have the same effect of not sleeping enough, which can really drain you. All right, coming up, Lydia says she wants Lori to have the confidence to function without her. And my thoughts on that and on Kim's concerns about what happens in the distant future when we come back. you have no plan for the next 7 years being any different than the last 7 years, correct?
I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know. So I do have a plan.
I don't want to do it right now. Not right now. The problem with Dad back then was he was drinking and he was emotionally and verbally abusive.
Growing up, my dad was the tough love guy, and it was maybe a little too tough, which made my mom overcompensate.
I wasn't thinking about the consequences of what would happen if she latches on to me and I do everything for her. I was thinking of the pain that she's going through.
Since my parents' divorce, the relationship I have with my father is very good because I forgave him for the abuse. He's a very good father to me right now.
You say you want your life back, that you want to get back into the swing of things and enjoy your life. And I saw pictures of you with your husband, and you're grinning ear to ear, and you looked happy and vibrant. And I want that back. And if you want to change your life, then you have to behave your way from where you are to where you want to be. Do you agree with that? Yeah. And, you know, Coach Mike, how do you approach this? How would you do this from a coaching standpoint with Lori? Not generally, with Lori.
With Lori, I would change the structure of Lori's life. So it would be someone when she wakes up at 6 a.m., starting with a ritual that kicks off the day, writing out some goals for the day of what is going to get accomplished.
You're talking about with a life coach?
With a life coach, with a woman who comes by the house and starts to work through her goals. And we would start to make sure she gets to her doctor's appointments, really get a pulse on her medications, and make sure we're following protocols that are in her best interest, and start to arrange your life in such a way so that you're living your life and you're excited about your life.
I love it.
Because you're not going to do that on your own. You've shown that for 7 years. Right. Weeks turn into months, months turn into years. We're here 7 years later, and you have no plan for the next 7 years being any different than the last 7 years, correct?
I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know. So I do have a plan. What does that sound like to you?
When does this have to happen if I choose to do this?
Well, yesterday by noon. I mean, as soon as possible. What else have you got to do?
I don't want to do it right now. Not right now.
We'll be right back. I just described something to you that I think can sound really overwhelming to you.
That does sound overwhelming.
Oh, and listen, I get that. Trust me, I get that.
It's like somebody's watching me live my life, telling me what to do from the moment I wake up in the morning to the time I go to bed. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, which is exactly what you need, but.
I don't know if I can deal with that right now.
No, I understand. But
I'm just being honest. I don't know.
No, and I am too. I'm being very honest. That's exactly what you need, because without that, you will continue to require so little of yourself that this year is going to slip by whether you're doing something about your life or whether you're not. And what you need to understand is that the role of a life coach is to meet you where you are. Not asking you to meet them where they are. Meet you where you are and set a pace that you can handle. But it's got to be more than what you're doing right now. Because what you're doing right now is not getting you what you want. Do you get that?
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Now,
we've talked about it. It's absolutely true.
Those of you here in the audience, if I came to you and said, we're going to really polish up your life, and you're going to have a partner in doing this, if that's something that would sound good to you, stand up right now.
I'm standing up right now.
All right, y'all can sit down, because I'm not doing that.
Now I have to get back up.
But I am doing that for you. Here we go.
Well, He's more my type, Doctor.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Thank you.
And what you're concerned about is being overwhelmed.
I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, and I'm saying you don't need to feel overwhelmed because you're going to be comfortable with somebody and they're going to take this a step at a time where you go, I feel good about this. Let's build on this today. We'll add something to it next week. We'll add something to it next week.
I can't do it where the answer is not right now.
Yeah. I completely respect that you don't want to lose control of your life. And that's not what I'm telling you. Don't miss the fact that I said, you're in control here. We're going to bring you the help, and you guys are going to negotiate what you want to do at your pace, as long as it's more than what you're doing right now. We will meet you where you are and move at your pace. You're not losing control here. You're in control. Will you agree to meet with this person?
Come on.
All right.
Okay.
Do I have your commitment? Okay. All right.
Look at the audience.
Okay. You know, and as for your concerns about this, I have a really good friend, Ann Margaret Carrozza. She wrote a great book called Love and Money, and she really specializes in estate planning. She certainly says it's important to not put 100% burden on one child, and that's why we're here saying, let's start doing this now. Let's get this balanced out now. So these girls can enjoy each other and their lives moving forward. Let's not wait until things change. Let's do things now. I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie. Dr. Sophie, thank you so much. A special thanks to Coach Mike. Thanks for going over to their home and spending time with him. Thank you. Coach Mike's New York Times best-selling book is Best Self, Be You Only Better. And by the way, everybody in the audience is going home with a copy. Don't forget, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a brutal assault that went viral. Exclusive interviews with the attacker.
I've never put my hands on a woman before. According to Brianna, 3 attacks happened that night.
His mother.
He's telling you that he didn't remember doing any of this.
And the victim's sister.
She had been beaten.
Violently beaten.
If I was not drunk, I would not have done that.
Alcohol is not an excuse.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Thank you very much. You know, these days cameras are catching the unseen moments that we used to miss every day. From a delivery driver dancing after being left some treats, and a bear ringing a doorbell with its nose, to spotting a determined canine stealing a package. Video doorbells are capturing what's happening on America's front porches. But not everything these cameras catch is funny or heartwarming. In fact, some things they record are downright scary, downright criminal. That's exactly what happened when a video doorbell recorded a brutal attack in what appeared to be a kidnapping. Take a look.
Stop, Darko!
Within hours, the homeowners released their doorbell footage to the police and a manhunt began.
Tonight, there's breaking news from Las Vegas.
The story started with that video there.
That was captured on a home surveillance camera.
The chilling video shows a woman frantically running to a stranger's home for help.
Stop, Darko!
When her attacker catches up, he throws her to the ground and kicks her. The struggle continues as the man drags the woman by her hair to a white car in the street.
I heard some screaming and thought maybe they had an accident.
No one was home at the time, but the homeowner saw the video remotely and sent it to police.
Police say the couple was driving back from a New Year's Eve party with their 1-month-old baby.
The couple started fighting. The victim ran out of the car, leaving the couple's 1-month-old child in the back seat. During the assault, the victim says her attacker's name, Darnell.
Stop, Darko!
It was the clue detectives needed.
Police arrested 23-year-old Darnell Rogers at the Park 80 Apartments.
Prosecutors say he is the man that was caught on camera attacking that woman.
Police say the mother and baby are safe tonight.
Darnell Rogers is in custody. He's facing kidnapping and domestic battery charges.
Well, Darnell's mother, Lovey, wrote to me 5 days after the video went viral, saying there's more to her son's story than meets the eye.
My son, Darnell, he told me that he and his girlfriend had gotten into a fight. Darnell said, she's taking the baby away from me and she's leaving me. His words were slurring. He was so drunk. Then I got a text from his girlfriend. She said, he beat me up. And I said, are you okay? And she said, yes, I have the baby with me. And that was pretty much it. I said, did you hit her? And he said, she pushed me and I pushed her back. The next day, Darnell called me. He said, Mom, there's a video. And I said, what do you mean there's a video? He said, it's everywhere. My thoughts were, how bad could this video be?
Stop, Darko!
When I saw that video, I was disgusted, angry. I felt shame. He's not my kid. He's not a monster. He just needs help. The kid that I raised, this is not him. I'm on the phone with him, and I just start yelling, why did you do that? And he kept saying, Mom, I'm sorry. Within minutes, I hear banging at his door. The police were telling Darnell they were going to drag him out the house. Darnell is on the phone telling me I should just run out the door. And I'm thinking, they're going to shoot you. I called the police and I said, I am Darnell's mother and he's ready to surrender. I told him when he surrendered, put your hands up, make sure nothing is in your hands, put your phone in your pocket and leave it on speakerphone so that I could hear everything that was going on. And that is what he did. I had never heard of Darnell hitting a woman. I know without a shadow of a doubt, if he wasn't drunk that night, that wouldn't have happened. I started watching Dr. Phil 16 years ago. I'm just hoping that Dr. Phil can do for my son what I've seen him do for a lot of people.
Well, Lovey, let's just jump right into this. Tell me what it was like for you seeing your son doing what is on that tape. He's attacking the mother of your grandchild.
When I first saw the video, I was disgusted. At the same time, I was thinking, this is not my kid. This is not the man I raised. I also felt failure as a mom.
I look at behaviors a lot of different ways. People can do things on impulse, and that doesn't make them okay, but they can just kind of reflexively hit someone. But here, he runs 30 yards. He grabs her, throws her to the ground, then kicks her, then picks her up and drags her. There's a lot of time in there to say, what in the world am I doing?
Correct, yes.
Why did he do this?
5 years ago, Darnell had a girlfriend named Sarah. And I have to share that in order to say where his journey. 5 years ago, he had a girlfriend named Sarah. Sarah died of meningitis. First girlfriend, they'd been together 2 years, in love with her. I seen my son go from this smiley kid, full of life, expressive, to being angry and just mad at the world. He started drinking. And when he drank, he would rage.
I get what you're saying. when you look at a cause and effect relationship in the psychological chain of events, the fact that he suffered this loss before, and it expresses itself now by him taking the mother of his child 30 days out of childbirth, slamming her to the ground and kicking her in the stomach. Those two things just don't have a cause and effect relationship. I'm sorry. Now, he may have become a drunk between then, and that may have washed away his inhibitions, but that event and this event, there's not a straight line between those two. You don't think that this is something that should be swept under the carpet.
Absolutely not.
You believe that he should be held accountable for this.
Absolutely.
And he's telling you that he didn't remember doing any of this.
He remembers some of it, but Darnell is a blackout drunk, and I've seen him blackout drunk.
They were at a party.
Correct.
A get-together, and he was drinking there.
Absolutely.
And they left the party, and she was driving.
Correct.
Where was the baby?
In the backseat of the car.
So while this is going on, we see the car out there with the door open, right? The 4-week-old baby's in the backseat of the car.
Yes, sir.
And he drags her, throws her back out there, puts her in the car, and drives away, and he does the driving.
Yes.
So he's driving drunk with his 4-week-old baby in the car and the mother in the car. When he's sobered up, he's a completely different person.
Totally.
And that's what you're saying when you say he's not the monster he's depicted to be. When he's not drunk, he's a completely different person.
Yes, sir.
All right. Look, when we come back, Darnell claims that night was the only time he has ever put his hands on a woman. Certainly the only time he's ever put his hands on the mother of his child. And now he faces potential life in prison. Well, we're going to talk to him next.
Last thing I remember was leaving the New Year's Eve party with my girlfriend. I was really intoxicated.
Stop, Darko!
I couldn't remember why I was that mad. I've never put my hands on a woman before.
And later,
I didn't ask to be here on Dr. Phil today, but because of your actions, we're here. I'm here because we feel you don't get it.
Good evening. Police arrest a man accused of kicking and dragging his girlfriend.
The shocking moments captured on home surveillance video.
Do I believe that Darnell should be sentenced to life or a long jail term? No. I believe that he should get help. I do believe Darnell is hit his bottom, and he is in a lot of pain right now.
Darnell says that on January 1st, when he left the New Year's Eve party he was attending, he thought he got into his ex-girlfriend's car and just fell asleep. He says it wasn't until later, that same morning, when he woke up, that he learned exactly what he had done.
When I looked at my face, I saw the devil.
Stop, Darko!
It's terrifying for me to know that I'm capable of doing something like that. Last thing I remember was leaving the New Year's Eve party with my girlfriend and my 1-month-old daughter. I was really intoxicated. The next morning, I woke up to a call from my girlfriend telling me that everything is on the news. Hung up the phone, and I saw myself on the news. I pushed her onto the ground. I also kicked her and dragged her back to the car. I couldn't remember why I was that mad. My girlfriend told me that it was over money, and I wanted to go get some weed.
I heard a bunch of banging at my door, knocking, so I went over to go peek and see who it was. After I looked outside the window, I could tell that it was the cops outside looking for me, saying if I didn't come out, they'd be dragging me out, kicking and screaming. I got on the phone, called my mom. I looked out, peeked out, and saw about 5 more cops downstairs. We waited here for about 5 hours until, my mom said they weren't leaving. She had me go ahead and let them know that I was going to surrender myself. I opened the door. They told me to put my hands up. My phone was still in my pocket. My mom was on speaker. I walked outside just like this. I had my hands up, walked down nice and slow. And when I got to this point about here, they had me turn around, put my hands behind my back, and then arrested me.
I've lost everything. My daughter, girlfriend, job. I can't leave the state. It hurts. I feel less than a man. I feel less than a father. I feel I've never put my hands on a woman before. I realize the severity of what I've done. My biggest fear now is spending time in prison. If I could say anything to my daughter, I would tell her I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my girlfriend and her family. Say I'm sorry to my family. What I want from Dr. Phil is how to live a sober life, how to get closer to God, and how to be the father I need to be for my daughter.
Well, Darnell has been charged with first-degree kidnapping, coercion, and 3 counts of battery constituting domestic violence. He is currently out on bail awaiting trial and wearing an ankle monitor. He's joining us via satellite now because he cannot leave the state of Nevada. So my first question is, what the hell were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking at all. I was completely intoxicated.
Do you have a drinking problem?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Let's talk about that night. You say you remember getting in the car after leaving the party and going to sleep. She was driving, and you were in front seat, back seat?
Back seat.
And you were back there with the baby?
Correct.
And the next thing you remember is waking up at a gas station and arguing with your ex-girlfriend about money.
Correct.
Anything physical happened there?
Not to my knowledge.
So how did it fall apart where she stops the car and gets out and runs?
Honestly, I don't know.
Did you start putting your hands on her in the car, and she obviously had to get away from you? That's why she got out of the car, right?
Not to my knowledge of me putting my hands on her in the car. I don't see I did, no.
Okay, well, what made her stop the car, get out, leave the door open, a 4-week-old baby in the back seat, and run for her life?
I wish I could tell you, but I'd probably trying to get away from that monster right there in the video, but I know it was nothing physical.
If you don't remember, how do you know what happened in the car?
Well, the next morning when she called me, she kind of went over everything that happened. And
so what did she tell you? What did she tell you happened in the car?
She thought that I would fight her or something. And when she got out the car, that's when I chased her.
Next, Brianna is the sister of the woman in the video. She says there is no excuse for what Darnell did that night. We'll meet her next.
When I saw my sister, it looked like a scene out of a movie. Clothes torn, bruises, blood, tears. I saw Darnell beat up my sister and then lie and say he didn't hit her at all. Darnell needs to pay for his crimes.
Started drinking in high school with some friends, just trying to be cool. Marijuana I've been smoking since I was 12 years old. It picked up after Sarah's death to every day, couldn't live without it. Alcohol, I drank 4 to 5 beers a day, 5 days a week.
Alcohol makes Darnell very aggressive. He's like a rager when he's drunk.
I blacked out, people having to drag me home from parties, later on showing me videos that I don't recollect at all.
One time, Darnell had 2 black eyes, stitches in his face, his tooth was chipped. He did not even remember what happened.
I'm afraid of what I'm capable of because when I drink, I may become that person in that video again.
On New Year's Day, Darnell was captured on a video doorbell assaulting his now ex-girlfriend. Her sister, Brianna, is here, and she says that night, Darnell didn't get physical with her sister just once, not twice, but 3 times. Take a look.
Darnell thinks he can play this story as to I'm an alcoholic, so I can use that as the reason why I beat up my girlfriend. New Year's Day, 1 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from my sister asking me to come pick her up. She was crying and frantically screaming. I said, I'll be right there. I could hear her yelling at Darnell, just give me the baby, let me get the baby safe. I didn't know how hurt she was. I just had to get there and make sure she was okay. When I saw my sister, it looked like a scene out of a movie. Clothes torn, bruises, blood, tears. She told me that they got in a fight. She was running to a random person's door for help because she was afraid for her life. I told my sister we should call the cops. and she was afraid that he would do something drastic because he had already threatened to kill himself, her and the baby. When Darnell drove up to the apartment, I was trying to get the baby out safely. We were arguing. Darnell was telling me to off. At that point, my sister got out of the car to try to de-escalate the situation. He threw the keys at my sister and pushed her down in the rocks. Luckily, my sister was able to get away and grab her keys. I grabbed the baby and we got out of there. Right in front of me, I saw Darnell beat up my sister and then lie and try to say he didn't hit her at all that whole night. My sister is the victim here, not Darnell. It's important for my sister's version of this story to come out. She deserves to have her voice heard. My family and I feel that Darnell needs to be accountable and pay for his crimes. And if that means jail, then that's where he belongs.
Well, Brianna, thank you for being here. You want to be your sister's voice in all of this. And the reason she's not speaking in this is because there are some very sensitive issues going on right now. Her children have been removed from her, correct?
Right.
And what is the reason that's been given for her children being taken away?
Their 1-month-old baby was in the backseat of the car that night. And because my sister didn't press charges, Child Protective Services thought it was best to remove the children from her care.
You say that night your sister's lip was busted. She had hair that was coming out from being yanked. She was bruised, bloody, clothes torn. This wasn't tussled, roughed up. She had been beaten.
Violently beaten. When I got to Darnell's apartment where my sister was, she got in my car and right away I could see her shirt, long sleeve shirt, torn, holes in the side. She grabbed my hand and made me touch underneath her head where all the welts were from where Darnell had been dragging her. She told me they were left a New Year's Eve party and stopped at the gas station arguing about money, and she was putting gas in the car. Darnell got out of the car, dragged her by her hair, shoved her face down in the car at the gas station, and started to try to beat her up.
Darnell, does that trigger your memory about something happening at the gas station?
No, sir, I don't remember that night at all.
They continued to fight, obviously, and Darnell told her to pull over because we're going to fight. So her plan was to pull over and leave, when he got out. She did, and he called her back and said, if you don't come back, I'm going to kill myself.
That's when she goes back and the fighting starts again.
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall threatening suicide?
No, sir.
Do you recall calling her?
No, sir.
Darnell says he was blackout drunk and doesn't remember a thing from that night, but Brianna says Darnell was very coherent and was able to drive and purchase marijuana that night. So how does this work? We'll talk about that when we come back. Did he surrender the baby?
No, he did not. Obviously, my sister's not going to come over here after you beat her up. That's when I decided it was best to just call the cops. From the very beginning of my sister's relationship with Darnell, she seemed different. Darnell was manipulating her, controlling her, and actually trying to cut us out of her life. While she was in labor, he wanted to be in control of the situation and didn't want anybody around. Once my sister had the baby, he didn't want her to bring the baby to visit us. I don't think she was able to see what we saw, how she was being manipulated. I think she was blind. She doesn't deserve to be treated like that. She doesn't deserve to be put through this.
So you went and picked her up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see him then?
Yeah, me and my sister sat in my car waiting for Darnell to come back with the baby so we could get the baby home safely. And I actually called Darnell and texted him to see where he was at and to see if we could get the baby. And then he came back to the apartment.
Did he bring the baby back?
Yes.
And did he surrender the baby?
No, he did not. Obviously, my sister's not going to come over here after you beat her up tonight. Just give me the baby and I'll leave. He told me I didn't hit her tonight. And if she wants this baby, she can come get the baby. That's when I decided it was best to just call the cops. My sister thought maybe I can de-escalate this situation. She came over, and that's when Darnell came down the stairs and pushed her down in the rocks and started to go after her again.
This is his third time?
Yes.
So gas station, caught on camera, at the apartment, being pushed down in the rocks.
Right.
Darnell, do you recall that?
No, sir.
Do you believe that he doesn't recall that?
It's not for me to say what he can and can't remember, but he was, in my opinion, he was coherent.
When you talked to him on the phone, did he seem intoxicated?
He was very intoxicated.
And this was when the police were at his...
Both of them were.
So when the police were there and he was saying, hey, they're out there, and he sat in there for 5 hours before he went out, was he drunk during that time?
No. No.
Okay.
So the night of the New Year's morning, 12, 1 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock, he was calling me. They want to take the baby. They want to take the baby. I said, give them that baby. I said, you are drunk. Why are you guys out on New Year's Day, this time of morning, with my grandbaby?
And this was what time?
This was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, and you said give the baby.
Give them the baby.
And did he?
I believe there were some other incidents that transpired before they spoke on the phone. Once he did call his mother, he came down with the car seat, put the car seat down in the parking lot, and went back his direction.
With the baby in it?
Right, yeah, with the baby in it.
So once you told him, okay, and when you told him to give them the baby, he was drunk at that point?
Absolutely.
Okay. Darnell says there is no excuse for his behavior, but believes that the death of his girlfriend 5 years ago may be a factor, could be a link in this chain in what happened that night. I'm going to start saying what I think's going on here, because it's a whole lot different than what's been posited so far. And it's time to get down to the basics here. There are children involved in this, there's a relationship involved in this, there are court systems involved in this. Lifetime in prison hangs in the balance here. We're going to talk about all that when we come back.
After that night, I drank to get drunk. I ended up in a dark hole. I don't think I've ever grieved how a person should grieve. I think it could be the root of my problems.
Darnell says the death of his first girlfriend 5 years ago has left him filled with guilt, anger, and he's never really dealt with that. Levy says the day his girlfriend died, part of Darnell died as well.
Sarah was my first girlfriend, the first girl I ever told I love you. Our relationship was great. It was happy, vibrant. We were freshmen in college. I just came home for Thanksgiving break to see Sarah. She didn't feel herself. I could tell she was trying to hide that. She mentioned this twice to me, saying, I feel like I'm dying, but I'm happy that I'm with you. I didn't think much of it. Went and got some dinner. Next morning, she asked me to take her to the hospital because she had a really bad headache. We got onto a hospital bed. She went brain dead. She started flailing her limbs, like her arms and her legs, and she was shouting out this gibberish. The doctor said she had got meningitis, and it was just too late. Her parents came. She was pronounced brain dead in a coma, and then they pulled the plug later that night. If she would have come an hour earlier, they probably could have saved her.
He just could not wrap his head around the why. Why would God take someone so young, healthy, 18, full of life?
After that night, I drank to get drunk. I ended up in a dark hole. That definitely kicked off a snowball effect of me finding myself blacked out, drunk all the time.
He was disengaged. He was angry, mostly at God.
I quit college. I never talked about Sarah's death. I don't think I've ever grieved how a person should grieve. I think it could be the root of my problems.
Well, you know, I've commented on that, and Darnell, I'm sorry for your loss. That's a terrible thing to go through at a young age, and particularly to be there and be up close and personal when it happened. So I'm very sorry for your loss, and I have no doubt that that has had a profound effect on you. that in no way excuses what you have done here. It also doesn't explain what you've done here. And this happened 5 years ago, which means you've had 5 years to do something about it, other than self-medicate with alcohol and drugs and get blackout drunk when you know that you rage when you do it. And you've chosen not to do that. And when you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences, and now you're looking at consequences that are quite dire. You've talked to your sister, your family. From your side, what do you think constitutes justice here?
It seems as though they might be trying to say that as an excuse as to why he violently beat my sister, and that's not okay. And as the law states, you have to be accountable for your crime, and that means you have to go to jail.
Do you think he should spend life in prison?
That's for a jury of his peers to decide.
I'm just asking your opinion.
I don't think he should spend life in prison, no. But I think it doesn't seem like he has quite grasped how impactful this has been on my family and my sister and her children. And he needs, I think, a little bit of a wake-up call and some remorse and some truth.
What do you think's just here?
I don't think he should get life in prison. I think that some of the charges are like, okay, kidnap. Is there consequences for our actions? Absolutely. There should be consequences for his action. I'm not justifying that at all. But what I am saying is a lot of times the system put guys in jail when they need rehab. And I'm not saying as a family, we're not saying her death is an excuse. That's not an excuse. It's not. What I am saying is I saw my son die with Sarah. He's never been the same, and he has drank since then. So I reached out to Dr. Phil because I've witnessed him help people and counsel people and also be brutally honest. So that's he's my child. And no, I don't believe that, just walk away and nothing happens. I don't think that is going to happen, to be honest with you. But I want him to be the best Darnell possible before any of this could happen, not just for himself, but for his daughter.
Darnell, what do you think should happen? What do you think your consequences should be here?
First off, I want to say to Brianna and her family, I would never, ever, I'm not trying to use any of this as an excuse, ever. I know what I did was wrong, but I think you and I both know if I was not drunk that night, I would not have done that. So that's why I'm saying that the alcohol is a problem. That video was not the Darnell that you know. I'm sorry. As a man, that's nothing, I would never want anything like that to happen to my daughter, to her, or anyone. So I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry.
Well, I'm here with Lovey, Brianna, and Darnell. Darnell was caught on video doorbell attacking Brianna's sister on New Year's Day. And according to Brianna, it was one of 3 attacks that happened that night. Lovey is Darnell's mother, and she says the Darnell on that tape is not the son that she raised. Darnell just said, you're wrong. I'm not trying to excuse this, and I am very sorry. Brianna, you wanted to comment on that.
My recall of that night is everything from her mouth and exactly what I told the police the night I called them.
What we know that is actionable is what happened that night. And I think we can all agree that what happened that night has not happened before. You've never found her in that condition before.
No.
And what we're dealing with is what happened that night. And it is never okay There is never an excuse for a man to put his hands on a woman in anger. It's never justified. There's never an excuse. There's never a rationale. It's never okay for any reason, drunk, sober, mad, not mad, whatever. There's never a reason. I don't care if she hits you. I don't care if she throws something at you. You got 2 feet, run, get away, do something. But you don't put your hands on a woman in anger.
Period.
You just simply don't. Now, I have some very strong feelings about something that's gone on here. I think there are injustices on both ends of this, and something has happened that I think has spun this way off of its axis and created some fallout that could have far-reaching implications that we have not even touched on yet. I'm going to tell you what that is right after the break. Well, I'm here with Lovey, the mother of Darnell, who can't be here in person, is joining us on satellite. He can't be here in person because he's not allowed to leave the state because he's out on bail for multiple felony charges for violence against the mother of his child. Brianna is here, who is the sister of that woman, and is speaking on her behalf. Now, when something like this happens, it has a profound effect on a lot of people. And something has gone on here that I have a real problem with, and this involves your side of the family. There are 2 children involved here, a 7-week-old baby and an 8-year-old child. These children have been removed from your sister's care.
Right.
Child Protective Services or the Department of Child and Family Services have come in and said, we're going to remove these children from their mother and withhold them from her.
Correct.
I think they have made a serious error in judgment here. Okay. Removing those children from this mother has victimized her twice and has victimized these children further. Now, I understand their logic here is, well, she didn't press charges against him, so therefore we're fearful that this is okay with her to be beaten like that, and so she's likely to put this monster back in their space, and these children could see her be beaten or they could be beaten, so she is negligent in letting them be in harm's way. And that's one of the definitions of child abuse, is failure to keep children away from toxic situations or danger. You, Darnell, need to be held accountable for what you have done. I believe that Darnell has been overcharged here. He's been charged with crimes that can put him in jail for the rest of his life. What you have done is not okay. It's not okay. You should be held to account. You should probably do jail time. You should not be able to just say, gee, I'm sorry, I was drunk and didn't know what I was doing. That doesn't make it okay. I believe the reason that she did not press charges is because he's overcharged. And so she said, I'm sorry, I can't do that here. I can't do that. And so they say, okay, then we're taking your children away from you. And I just don't endorse that. I don't think it's right. And I think she needs to fight back and get her children back.
Everybody deserves a second chance. I think you need help. But I just still feel like you don't understand how traumatic this is. My sister and your child with her and her other child, our family is going to have to live with this forever. I didn't ask to be here on Dr. Phil today, but because of your actions, we're here. And I understand you don't deserve life in prison. I don't even know what I want for you. I want you to seem more. I don't care about the crime, or I want you to seem more like you understand. I'm here because we feel you don't get it.
I can tell you that I am getting myself straight just because, not just because for myself, but for her and for your guys' family. I'm willing to show you guys action as opposed to just coming on TV and saying I'm sorry, because I know that doesn't do much. I am going to put in the work, and I apologize for my actions. And I can tell you I'm going to put in the work, and I am going to take accountability of what I have done, no matter what, you know. I just know that I need help doing it. I cannot do it alone. Darnell's way did not work the last 5 years. It didn't. We see where that got me.
It really will boil down to the actions. And I've said what I've had to say. I want to thank my guests today. For more information about today's show, you can log on to drphil.com. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, he has 5 online girlfriends.
None of them exist.
Is he being scammed?
You sent her about $5,000?
Related to the gold, yeah.
But you never got the gold?
No. You got arrested before that happened.
So how did an intelligent man with a PhD fall for all of these scammers?
What you need to look for to keep yourself safe.
Date of birth, 12/8/79. Over here, the birth date is 12/8/87.
I recognize it right away.
Bob, is this the same one that you had checked out by someone who was in Ghana?
Let's ask Dr. Phil. He asked the questions, not you.
If there is a 25-year-old multimillionaire gorgeous girl out there, she ain't looking for you. You understand what I'm telling you?
Well, I understand that
you're being used. The woman that you think is April Jean is actually this woman. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Okay, yesterday I sat down with Robert and his ex-wife. Jeremy, who claimed her ex-husband lost their entire $1 million retirement savings on day trading and bad investments. And he didn't stop there. She says Robert also spent their hard-earned money on online scammers who he believes are women interested in dating him. Now, Robert says he's well aware that there are scammers online, so he wanted me to verify that the women he referred to as his top 5 were the real deal.
When we retired, he began to get involved in a day trading.
I had to tell her we lost everything.
Our $1 million nest egg was gone. After 40 years of marriage, I filed for divorce.
At this point, there's approximately a half dozen women that I have a strong interest in. This is Sophie Preston. Sophie lives in the Modesto area. Sophie is mute. I've already said Sophie, about $10,000. This is April. April and I are engaged. She's in the country of Tonga. I think in her particular case, I don't think she is scamming me. This lady is Jane. Her and her daughter are now being held in captivity. The house she's lived in is a fortress that has security guards with guns and attack dogs. I said, I'm going to the FBI. The FBI agent said he would pass it on. That's the last I heard.
For a man who's supposed to be smart, he is dumber than most.
In a perfect world, you would like somebody that's young, attractive, interesting, funny, exotic, and rich.
Yes.
Robert says he is currently focused on 5 women. However, one woman in particular, he says, he's ready to marry as soon as possible. That's Sophie.
So,
and her father's leaving her $5.5 million.
She doesn't have access to it. It involves a Nigerian company. That tells you something right there, right?
Tells me a lot. What do you think about that?
It's pretty incredible.
It's kind of like a soap opera, really. Mom's dead, dad's dead, brother got the house, she's mute.
And
I expect any minute for her to get amnesia. Well, we did some sleuthing, and we found out some interesting things about Sophie Preston. You did look at her passport.
Yes.
And this is clearly fraudulent. The lines down here are red.
It's
real
clearly
ones.
fraudulent.
This is her driver's license.
Yeah.
Okay, you know this is fraudulent,
Absolutely.
too. You have a fraudulent passport and a fraudulent driver's license. Show me a document that's not fraudulent.
Well, I don't have it on me. Do you understand that your assistants were asking for information at a rapid-fire rate in a very short period of time?
You were busy being belligerent is the reason you were having trouble getting all your documents.
Is that a fact?
Together. Yes, that is a fact.
Wait a minute. You're talking over me. Stop talking over me. If you want the answer, you're going to have to let me talk, okay? We don't have a show then, because I'm not going to say their actual first name. That's an example of belligerent.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
I want to be right, and I want this show to be right.
You know, I decided to let it pass, you being rude and belligerent and abusive with my staff, but if you want to take that to task, we can, because you are a loudmouth bully.
Did you have the other side of that conversation? You know, in a phone conversation.
Yeah, I got the other side of that conversation. You want to bully them, bully me, Buster. You want the information or do you not?
I do.
Okay. We sent a staffer to the town where Sophie Preston says she and her attorney, who is managing her inheritance, Bernard T. Williams, live.
Can you guys tell me if you've seen this woman?
I have never seen that woman here.
Do you recognize this woman?
No.
Robert is still talking to 4 other women, April Jean, Jane Hodges among them. Robert may be thrilled to know we found out about April Jean. This is what Robert knows about April Jean. Date of birth, 9/28/89 in Colorado. Age 30. Currently working in Tonga as a freelance architect. Hired by Bond Construction in Houston, Texas. Moved to Tonga for contract work on November 10th, 2019. Her mother's from Mexico, deceased 17 years ago. Father from California, deceased. Former boyfriend, deceased 2 years ago. Permanent home is with her grandmother in Lubbock, Texas. Grandmother recently died, however, just 3 months ago. She attended the University of Colorado or Colorado State between 2006 and 2010. They've been talking via email and text for a couple of months. Robert exchanged $3,000 in gift cards for her. Robert claims they met concerning a lost package. It was just kind of happenstance, right?
That's what it appeared, yeah.
Yeah. And here's what April Jean looks like. Very attractive.
Sure.
Yeah. We sent a staffer to Texas. Good. Put somebody on an airplane, flew them to Lubbock to do some digging. Here's what we found out.
The Dr. Phil Show has been told by Robert that April Jean lived in this house with her grandmother before she had to leave for a freelance architecture job in Tonga. Let's take a look. Hey, how's it going, man? I'm Max. I'm with the Dr. Phil Show. I'm wondering if you know this woman, April. You've never met her before in your life?
I've never seen her in my life.
She claims her grandmother used to live here until she passed away 3 months ago. Have you lived here?
I haven't been here for about maybe 3 years.
You've been here for 3 years?
Yeah.
You've never seen this woman?
No, I've never seen her.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
How's it going? I'm Max. I work with the Dr. Phil Show. How long have you lived here?
37 years.
37 years. Have you ever seen that woman?
No.
Her name is April Jean. You've never seen her before in 30 years you've lived here?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mainly been black people for me.
That's it?
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Phil, it's safe to say the people that live at the address that Robert gave your team have never met April Jean. They say she has never lived there.
Here's what we found out about April Jean. There's no April Jean with a date of birth 9/28/89 that lived in Texas, Colorado, or anywhere in the United States of America. There is no April Jean that attended the University of Colorado or Colorado State between 2006 and 2010. There's no April Jean that worked at Vaughn Construction Company in Houston, Texas. We talked to Vaughn Construction Company.
Good.
She doesn't work there, has never worked there,
Okay.
never heard of her.
Okay.
It just simply doesn't exist.
I get you. I'm glad you couldn't cover this.
You get,
I got
she
it.
doesn't exist.
None of them exist because it's the same pattern over and over and over and over again.
Did you make it through all 6 names? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have time on here.
No, but we've gone one better. we found April Jean. And we're going to hear from her after the break.
Every one of those is ambiguous, and I'll tell you why. Because the information is coming from a guy who actually is not a guy that's going to tell the truth about it, who he is.
You're not dating him, you're dating her. And later, and you sent her about $5,000, but you never got the gold.
No, she got arrested before that happened.
Bob, is this the same one that you had checked out by someone who was in Ghana?
Let's ask Dr. Phil. He asked the questions, not you.
Robert says he's looking forward to meeting April Jean. Well, we looked everywhere for April and discovered she was indeed outside of the U.S., but not in Tonga. Take a look.
Hola, hola, Robert. Siento mucho decirte que mi nombre no es Abril. Mi nombre es Erika Vega. Soy de Nogales, Sonora, México. Vivo en México. Soy influencer en redes sociales y siento mucho, mucho lo que te está pasando. Todos los días recibo mensajes de diferentes personas en donde se hacen pasar por mí, en donde estafan a gente con dinero, en donde incluso secuestran. Y de verdad es muy triste esta situación. Doy gracias a este espacio para poder aclararlo y para poder decir no se dejen engañar. Chequen bien a quién siguen, chequen bien a quién agregan, chequen bien en quién confían, sobre todo en redes sociales. Gracias, saludos.
The woman that you think is April Jean is actually this woman who lives in Mexico and has had her identity. So they stole her picture. She's not involved in this in any way whatsoever. She is a victim of identity theft. Robert has also been talking to another woman named Jane Hodges. Here's what we know about Jane. Date of birth, unknown, 28 to 35 years old, also known as Jane Stamper, born in Barcelona, Spain, being held hostage in an unload location in Texas with her grandmother and daughter Maggie. She's been being held hostage there for 2 years by her Uncle Danny. Now, Uncle Danny's real name is Gonzales Ronald Hodges. Uncle Danny allegedly owns property in Levittown, New York, and Virginia Beach, Virginia. He talked to Robert online via text message for 2 years. Robert sent her $500. So here are some text message exchanges between Robert and Jane Hodges. Jane, I know necessary steps to take to get hold of money in 1 week. Once I'm out and have all the documents, that's why I want us doing this secretly so he doesn't do anything to the documents.
I'll explain that.
Robert, you think you'll be able to get a hold of anything if you don't have the documents? Jane, if I get out of here unaware of him, bursted, I can get my documents as soon as possible because he wouldn't have time to do anything to it. If I get out with no documents, I can't get any money. Only if I have means to locate them in person for.
According to her, Uncle Danny is holding her probate documents and her passport, which he took in exchange for loaning her $10,000 for surgery for her daughter.
Life-saving surgery, I suspect.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, since Robert explained that Jane Hodges was being held captive by her Uncle Danny, we sent a staff member to where Uncle Danny allegedly owns property in Virginia Beach. Take a look.
Okay, then I'm going to try the neighbors.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Jim. I'm with the Dr. Phil Show. Have you ever seen her before?
No, but goodness, she doesn't look very old.
Her name is Jane Hodges, or so she says.
Yeah, I don't know who she is, and I have not seen her in the neighborhood.
Thank you so much for
You're
talking with me.
welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Have you ever seen her before in this neighborhood?
I don't believe so. She would probably stand out.
And the name that she's telling him is Jane Hodges. Does that mean anything?
Not at all.
Do you know this woman, Jane Hodges?
No, I've never seen her before. I'm 71. I've lived here since I was 5. I've never seen her. I would remember her for sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Well, Dr. Phil, it's safe to say that the people who live at the address that Robert gave your team do not know Jane Hodges or Danny Hodges. They say that nobody by those names has ever lived at that address.
There is no Jane Hodges with that name in the age range at all anywhere in Texas. There's no Jane Stamper in the entire United States with that name in any kind of age range in Texas or U.S. No Gonzalez Ronald Hodges in the entire United States. Virginia Beach property is not owned by Gonzalez Ronald Hodges.
Right.
Doesn't exist.
Let me add something about this. By his own admission, he's a very secretive guy, and I doubt that he actually gave me his correct name. But every one of those is ambiguous, and I'll tell you why. Because the information is coming from a guy who actually is not a guy that's going to tell the truth about who he is. He doesn't want to be found.
You're not dating him, you're dating her.
No, but it's part of the credibility, and that's why you look at other people, too. Right?
Well, exactly how has Robert been able to send women money while living mainly on Social Security? A former roommate of Robert's will shed some light on that. We'll be right back.
Robert needs to understand, you were acting crazy. You were too smart to be acting this dumb.
And later, date of birth 12/8/79. Over here, the birth date is 12/8/87.
I recognize it right away.
Robert is very desperate. He's talking to women that look like Kim Kardashian. These are some women that I personally couldn't even talk to or pick up, and I'm not a bad-looking guy. One day he was telling me about a lady who he had just met online who had got stuck in Honduras. Later that day, he was telling that same girl that he loved her, how he wanted to give her a family. And she was saying that she wasn't able to get home, she wasn't able to get a flight or a ticket or anything like that because she didn't have the local currency. So Robert sent her $3,000. Robert needs to understand, you were acting crazy. You were too smart to be acting this dumb.
I want to introduce Robert's former roommate, Jill's son, Julian. He says after living with Robert for several months, he does not believe any of his girlfriends are real. So, Julian, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's been very clear in our conversations with you that you have his best interest at heart. What did you see when you were living together?
At first, really, it wasn't something that I was like, oh, this is an issue. And then just watching him, his daily habits are constantly on the computer. It was that, or he would walk, and he'd be like, oh, I'm going to go walk. And I'd be like, okay, where are you going? And he'd be like, I'm going to Walmart. I was like, oh, he's going to send somebody else money. So it started to be an issue because, Robert will neglect himself to talk to these women. He really won't listen to reason. It's like he wants it to be real so bad that no matter what happens to disprove it, he's still going to be like, yeah, it's true.
I think you're exactly right, but it goes on. There's another woman. The fourth woman Robert is talking to is Rosalind Randy. Here's what we know about her. Date of birth, 3/14/84, Minneapolis. 35 years old, currently living in Ghana. Formerly lived in Sweden with a grandmother. U.S. passport. Robert admits it was forged, but says it isn't concerning. Both parents died 3 years ago. 2008 to 2012, attended Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis. 2012, worked as a lab tech in Sweden, worked as a midwife in Ghana. In 2015, worked as a vaccination project supervisor in Ghana. April 2016, received nursing degree in Ghana. Owns a clothing shop in Ghana, has $16,000 in gold bars, and you sent her about $5,000?
Related to the gold, yeah.
Related to the gold, but you never got the gold?
No. She got arrested before that happened.
Is this the same one that I know, Bob? That you had checked out on their address in Ghana by someone who was in Ghana, and it was some kind of government enclosure?
Let's ask Dr. Phil. He asked the questions, not you.
Well, here's a photo.
You're way off base, and I don't want to get back and forth between us.
Here's a photo of Rosalind Randy, and we had to blur her face here and cover up some other things. And we did find out things about Rosalind Randy. First is that she doesn't exist. There is no Rosalinda Randy or Rose Randy with a date of birth of 3/14/84 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they do keep records up there, unlike the UK. No one by this name, Rosalinda Randy, Rose Randy, attended Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis, we checked between the years of 08 and 12, which she said, nobody went to the school by that name.
That's what I found out too, actually.
And so we checked this Igel camp is not located in Sweden. There are 2 locations, the Netherlands and Morrisville, North Carolina, and nobody by that name ever attended these locations in the Netherlands or North Carolina. So she never went there. That just didn't happen. There's no such person.
Okay.
There's one person in Robert's self-professed pool who he sent $4,000 to and has been talking to for 2 years without any substantive contact. That's about to change when we come back. Does that answer your question about whether she's real or not?
How can it not?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
This is Wendy. She's also a fashion designer, although I never really got close to her from the point of view of romance. I continue to talk to her right up till now. We worked out an agreement about having to help her with her inheritance. She has an inheritance of $5 million. Probably gave her close to $4,000. I have not received any money back.
Now, here's what we know, or at least has been represented about Wendy. Date of birth unknown. Age 30 to 35. Formerly lived in San Francisco. Currently lives with friends somewhere in California. Occupation, freelance fashion designer, right?
More or less.
Attorney, Arnold Pittenger. Now, Arnold Pittenger controls Wendy's $5 million inheritance. Robert has spent $4,000 approximately corresponding online across the last 2 years. And this is to help her get this inheritance freed up.
Yes.
Here's a photo of Wendy Rodriguez. This is Wendy, very attractive young woman, obviously. And this Arnold Pittenger alleged driver's license. Again, this is the attorney that's helping with this, right?
Yeah.
You notice that he signed over the top of somebody else's signature down here.
Yes.
Which is a bit of a problem. You notice that there's a seal which goes over the top of the picture, and while we've had to blur this, there's no seal that goes over the top of it. You notice there's also a birth date that goes on top of the picture, and that's not on top of the picture over here, so that's a problem. Here he's got date of birth 12/8/79. Over here, the birth date is 12/8/87. So the birth date isn't even the same when you go from here just to over here. It's not even the same. They didn't even go to the trouble to put it the same on the same document.
Yeah, it was very poor. I recognize it right away.
Well, first off, there's no Arnold Pittenger in California or the U.S. with a date of birth that matches the driver's license, either date, actually. No Arnold Pittenger practices law in California. This is a made-up entity. He doesn't exist, not as a lawyer or anything else. Robert says he's looking forward to meeting Wendy Rodriguez. We looked everywhere for Wendy, and we found an answer very close by. Take a look.
Hi, Dr. Phil. My name is Sierra Rogers. I live in Los Angeles, and I'm the founder, CEO, and designer of Babes and Felines. Hi, Robert. Obviously, I'm not Wendy Rodriguez. I'm sorry that someone fooled you into thinking that. What I would suggest in the future before sending gifts or falling in love with someone, maybe FaceTime or meet up with them in person. But it's nice to meet you.
Does that answer your question about whether she's real or not?
Well, yes, sure. How could it not?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. So how did Robert, an intelligent man with a PhD, fall for all of these scammers? I have some thoughts as to why, and I want to chat with Jill about this when we come back. Jill, why did you write in to begin with?
When Robert contacted me over the summer last year and I found out he was sleeping behind buildings, I felt it was my responsibility to go big or go home, one last chance to get him some help, because I didn't want to get a call that he was another body found out laying behind a building somewhere.
I'll tell you what I think is going on.
All right.
I think very much, I think you're in love with the idea of being in love. I think you live in this fantasy world of, this is going to be great, and you're so tunnel visioned on what that would be like that you ignore all the warning signs along the way because you want that to happen so badly.
Why don't you just use an app like Tinder or Match or OkCupid? There's a lot of dating apps that are practical. They're like, hey, we'll meet up here in this physical place, not, hey, I'm in Africa, by the way, send me $1,000, and then we'll link up.
Reality never lives up to fantasy. And if you're in love with a multi-millionaire in Ghana, then you can live in that fantasy world a long time. If there is a 25, 35-year-old multi-millionaire gorgeous girl out there, she ain't looking for you and me. She's looking for somebody her age, somebody to share her life with that she has something in common with. She ain't looking for us.
Something about generalities is that they are good. They're even good most of the time. But you would know they're not good all the time, right?
But why are you looking for the 10%?
I bet they're good enough of the time to cover your situation.
Well, okay, perhaps, but we're in an area of subject that itself could be whole shows. You realize that, of course. I mean, we're getting into all kinds of things here, and there's no time for me to respond to it. It probably wouldn't go over well in sound bites. It's good things to talk about. It's good to raise them.
Well, that's very condescending to say, but the point is, I'm just trying to tell you that you're, as your ex-wife points out, fishing in a pond that is a multi-billion-dollar scam pool.
And I said that myself,
and
actually, didn't I?
You're going to continue to do one of two things. If you really don't want to get into a relationship, you just want to live in the fantasy or hope of what could be, then that's the price of the ticket. You understand what I'm telling you?
Well, I understand that you have my interest at heart, and that's good enough.
Yeah, you're being used.
Okay.
He told me I would rather die with my boots on, so to speak, go out in a blaze of glory, and it's like I'd rather be homeless every week and buy that lottery ticket, and maybe one day I hit the numbers, and if I don't, then I died trying. And that's his mentality towards it.
No, that's true.
But I told him, you're going to never find love, and you're always going to be homeless if you don't change something.
You wanted my opinion about these 5 women. Right. I've given it to you. I think they're all identity theft scams, and I hope you'll unplug from all 5 of them.
I will.
You've been sitting here telling me about how $8,000, $4,000, $3,000, all that money. I have spent the last 4 years working myself crazy.
I know.
In order to be able to live.
I know.
I've done a pretty good job of it.
You have.
And you have said that you're doing this for me.
Partly,
so that you can pay me back.
Correct.
Well, these women have seen your $8,000 and your $4,000, your $10,000, your $19,000, and I haven't. And you are living on twice the Social Security income that I get. And when I have to stop working, and I'm already 72, when I have to stop working, my income is $900-some a month, according to whatever the Social Security determines at the time.
I know that.
You can't live on that.
I know.
And I have asked you time and time again to send me a few $100, $200, $300 a month out of that larger income that you have, even though I have an income from working, so that I can put that in the bank and have that to help make my life livable when I have to stop working. I haven't seen that. You've promised before, you've said you were going to do it, and I'm still facing that $900 future. I don't have a home. I have an apartment. We used to have homes.
Mm-hmm.
I put things up on the wall, but they have to come back down again. And that's the way the rest of my life is going to be.
Can I add something here?
No.
Just lay it out. Just to lay it out.
No, you've talked the entire time, and it's her turn. And your point is, whatever he spent, whether it's $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, would make a huge difference in your life.
It would.
If that had gone to you instead of being...
And that's money he can't recover either.
Right. Instead of going off to some scammer, if $50,000 was in your account, all of a sudden it would make a huge difference.
It would make a huge difference in my future. If you're going to spend over $1,000 a month sending women money, send some of it to this woman. Send some of it to that woman right there.
Well, what you're saying is you just want the dignity of being warm, dry, and safe in the same place as your life goes on, instead of bouncing around and wondering where you're going to be next month.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very reasonable. You didn't have to come here today, but you did, and I hope you're better for it.
Yes.
I think so. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you believe that you've been a victim of an internet scam, you can go to the FBI's special website, ic3.gov. And if one of my viewers wanted to contact us and set up a GoFundMe page for this woman, I would not be upset about that. I would certainly contribute to it, so we'll be right back.
Coming up, a teen is cyberbullied for 2 years. Wait until you hear who she says was behind it.
Imagine you're in the 7th grade and life is good until you start getting nasty text and Instagram posts from people you thought were your friends. Well, that's what happened to my next guest, 16-year-old Caitlin. She says this went on for 2 years as she suffered in silence. Here's Caitlin's story.
When I was little, I could make friends easily, but things changed once you get into junior high. The people who I thought were my friends really turned out not to be. The bullying started in the classrooms and the hallways. They wouldn't invite me to hang out anymore.
But I had no idea what was going on inside that phone of hers.
My so-called friends took it to a completely different level. It started with text messages. They said that I was an ugly bitch and to kill yourself. And you start thinking, maybe they are right. Maybe this is my fault.
I want to know why you didn't tell me what all was going on.
It was just a hard thing to talk about, you know.
It's really hard to know that it was that bad and I didn't know about it. Oh, and I get so angry.
But do you feel like you've grown through it? Absolutely.
I hate that Caitlin went through what she did, but she wouldn't be where she's at today if she hadn't experienced that horrible mess.
Getting through cyberbullying was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through.
Well, Caitlin and her mother, April, are joining me, along with my dear friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall from Pfizer. Thank you guys all for being here. So, Caitlin, how bad did this get for you?
Well, Dr. Phil, it was pretty terrible. I ended up with anxiety, depression. I had panic attacks all the time.
April, could you tell that something was wrong?
I could tell something was going on just because of some small different behavioral changes. I didn't realize how bad it was, though.
Yeah. I'm so passionate about the dangers of cyberbullying that I've even been asked to testify before Congress, calling for a federal crackdown on cyberbullying and dedicating money when they did a reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. And today, the expansion of the internet has taken things to a whole new and potentially dangerous level, has it not, Dr. Frida?
It absolutely has. And there are a couple of really key differences between bullying and cyberbullying. First of all, Face-to-face bullying often happened at school, in a schoolyard, and during the daytime. Cyberbullying can happen at any time and in any place. This leaves the victim of that bullying feeling like there may not be an escape.
Right.
The second thing is cyberbullying can be anonymous. You may not know who's messaging you or texting you or posting these things. You literally may not know who you're being bullied by.
So how common is teen cyberbullying now?
Well, a 2017 study by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, showed that about 1 in 7 high school students were electronically bullied in the 12 months prior to the survey.
It's unbelievable. What are the effects that the research is showing?
Well, some of the negative effects include things like trouble concentrating, academic struggles, even avoiding or quitting school or other activities. Bullying also puts you at risk for an increase in anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, substance use, and even suicidal thoughts.
Right.
And Caitlin told us, you know, teens, people who are being bullied may not want to talk about this to their parents or teachers. In some cases, they're ashamed. In other cases, they may be concerned that their internet or device privileges might be reduced or it could be taken away completely.
Yeah. So, Caitlin, once you told your parents what was happening, they got you into therapy. Did it help?
As soon as I told someone what was actually going on, everything changed. And now I'm able to help other people going through cyberbullying as well.
You've compiled a list of what parents should look for to spot that this is going on with their children.
And April mentioned some of them, but some of the signs include being disturbed, distressed, upset during or after using the internet. Another sign is avoiding school, avoiding other social activities. An especially secretive digital life is a potential indication. And then in the moment, being nervous, upset, or jumpy when receiving a text or a message. And also, if you think you're seeing signs of it, be proactive. Talk to your teen or your child. Ask them questions about their digital world. And you may want to consider setting parameters about when and where they're able to use some of the devices. And if you suspect that they're being bullied, you might want to seek the advice of a healthcare professional, a school counselor. Also, I think it's important if you think your child is witnessing or knows someone who is being bullied, ask them to speak up, maybe show you some examples of the bullying that's going on. And last but not least, if you think that your child is or suspect that your child is actually cyberbullying someone, take action right away. Parents, you are role models for your children. Please make sure that you are demonstrating positive interactions online.
Now, to learn more about cyberbullying and what to do if your child or loved one is experiencing it, make sure to check out gethealthystayhealthy.com, which is a great resource for families.
And of course, while you're there, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter.
I want to thank all of my guests today, especially our friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. If you have a situation or problem in your life and you'd like my help, I'd love to hear from you. Just email me at drphil.com, tell me all about it. Or if you'd like to join us here in the studio audience, the tickets are free. Just go to my website and click on Get Ticket. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and leave your comment on Facebook. I read them all. We'll see you next time.
Since we ran out of time and the show ended, so we're going to bring back Jeremy so that you guys can talk. And
You're going to bring her in here?
Do you?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm done.
No.
Apologize?
I'm not going to do it. That's the answer.
You don't want to say anything to Jeremy at all?
I said it to her already.
I just want you to feel like you spoke your piece with her. So I'm happy to bring her in and you can tell her.
No, I'm not going to do that with her. I was married to this woman for 40 years, and I kind of know how that will go, and I don't need any more of that today.
Are you
really
sure?
don't. Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. I just talked to Robert. I said you want to apologize, asked him a few times. Says he doesn't want to apologize, so...
Well, that's Robert.
You don't think he'll change after this?
No, I don't. He's not accepting the fact that everything he's doing is wrong. Thank you, Dr. Phil. I particularly appreciate that you really stood up to his bulliness. I thank you for allowing us to take this chance on saving Robert's life and his well-being.